were they willing to go as hard defensively as they were offensively? If things are on their terms and they're going forward, absolutely no worries. They'll cut sides up and they'll kick 15 to 20 goals a week. But when it gets hard and you've got opposition sides going, a bullet a gate against you, can they match it with them? And last week, no, because the most marks against that you spoke about, Clinchy, and the way that St Kilda scored would suggest they don't. But today, even better midfield, better ruckman against you, they're going to have their work cut out, and that's where we'll see what that talk was. Is it cheap, or are we going to see a bit of a resurgence from the Bombers?
Can you think of any examples, sort of backs against the wall, where you came out expecting some sort of response
from
your playing career, where the heat was on externally, and as a playing group you gathered? And I mean, back in the day, you might have got together for a few beers and a gathering around the campfire, but I guess in today's era, it's a very professional nature that it's probably more formal than that.
We had one where I remember we all sat around and so I think we made a mark to each other, or we signed a footy or something, and we went and said, well, this is the end of that, and then we lost 120 points a week after. So I don't reckon that one worked. We said, I don't reckon that's any good, Newey. We'll sack that one for next week. We'll try something different the week after. But, mate, you try so many different things, especially when things aren't going great. That
you try and break the cycle sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, and that's where it's like, maybe we do need to just get out and we'll go and do something fun. But and then it's also, well, there's no substitute for hard work as well, and actually you used to be able to put the gloves on and...
Yeah. I just think Essendon have shown at times this year that they're defensively pretty dour, but it was against the sides that you probably expect them to beat, or they're on the same level as. Where they've fallen down is with the sides, and last week is why they would be so disappointed, because St Kilda is a side that you'd think that they should beat.
Yep.
And they got a good touch up from St Kilda. So we heard before the game that they reckon that was an outlier last week. So they need to come here today and show that it was an outlier.
Well, it was an outlier against bottom 10 teams. That's what it was, an outlier, because they usually beat up on them, but they don't beat the top 8 sides.
That's right. So what we've seen this year is that they've got the ability to, against sides who are on the same level or they're above, but against the sides who, in that top 4 to 6, they just haven't really been anywhere near them. So, and Fremantle have got credentials to be a top 4 team, certainly, this year. So
they have been. They've proven it.
They've proven it, and they've been more consistent, and they've been playing at a higher level against a really good team. So this is where we come today, the MCD, to see whether Essendon are going to show what they've learnt from last week and come out and perform against a top 4 side.
Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio, Matt Klitsch, Brett Sprigg to call the action, with Ian Cohen down on the boundary. No late changes for Essendon and Fremantle, with Owen Davey Jr. and James Aish the sub for this afternoon. And the breaking news pre-game, Ian Cohen telling us in his chat with Jamie Graham that he has ruled himself out, the Fremantle assistant coach.
Who, Koza or Jamie Graham?
Jamie Graham.
Okay.
Koza might be still in.
To be fair, given the guys that are pulling out, Koza might be a chance.
Yes, no, Jamie Graham is not interested in applying for the West Coast Eagles coaching gig. So that panel has been announced, but the candidates we will find out, no doubt, in the coming weeks. In Canberra, it's the Hawks who lead by 28 points at three-quarter time. 10-9-69 to the Giants 5-11-41. So Hawthorn is one of the informed sides in the competition as they take their travelling roadshow, having won 11 from their past 14 matches. And it would set up a mouth-watering affair at the MCG next Sunday against the Blues after their last kick loss to the Magpies last night in Scott Pendlebury's 400th match.
Not to get too far ahead with Essendon, but, I mean, you look at their run home. They got Gold Coast, the worst road team in the comp, next week at Docklands. And then Sydney also at Docklands, and Sydney look a shell of their former selves. The Lions at the Gabba is a tough one to finish on. But win today, things are still open. They lose today, they're done. I think we all understand that, don't we, about Essendon?
Yeah, I think so. It's all or nothing, but as we said before, talk's cheap, isn't it? And they need to come out and show us that they're willing to put their head in the hole and work just as hard offensively as they will want to work defensively. But, we'll know more about this game
in the first 5 minutes. But you're right, Spree, exactly, because they're not going to go up to Brisbane and beat them at the Gabba. And you're right, they should beat Gold Coast next week at Marvel. So today's their opportunity to get on a run. And other sides around them are not performing. So there's still that hope, and where there's hope, there's still life. So you want to come here today being an Essendon fan and expecting a red-hot attitude at the first 5 or 10 minutes. But the challenge for them is to be really consistent across the 4 quarters against a really good team in Fremantle.
As always, we'd love to hear from you on the SMS 0437 774 774. Simon from Tasmania says problem for the Bombers started when the harder, higher pressure games, i.e. Collingwood, they tailed off. Replaced by run and gun tactics with no shape when the inevitable mistakes occur. Is it too much physicality to maintain that intensity, or is it a mental factor? Which Bombers are we going to see today? Adrian from Geraldton says 150 games for Kyle Langford. What would you like to see from him today? Rex in Perth has done the match review officer and the tribunal work. I've watched the footage of the act that led to Nat Fyfe's suspension, but can't see what he did. Looks like the Eagles player should be fined for staging. Did any of you see it? And Fremantle has the Pies and the Powers first round picks this year. What do they need? That's from Brennan in Hobart. That's a good question.
What do they need? Well, I think they'll be looking to add some more top-end talent. And I think that's why they're asking the question of Shea Bolton. They're in the mix still for Liam Baker as well. You know, a couple of Tigers boys, which would be disappointing for the Tigers. But that's what I think they'll be looking to add. And no doubt they'll be looking to use those high-end picks to package something up to bring in something, for sure, or someone.
What do you think, Murph? Is there anything you can see across the Fremantle field that they might need? You know, maybe they've got Brennan Cox, who's come back in the middle of the season, having missed large chunks of the start, so he complements Alex Pearce being out. It feels like they've got a pretty stable lineup. Yeah,
they've got a very stable lineup. I really like their midfield, and if Liam Baker and Shea Bolton are looking at injecting themselves into that team, it'd be pretty incredible midfield to add those sort of guys. And what they all bring is they're all goal kickers too. So. And they're hard to come by, those good, honest midfielders who are, they're A-grade players, but they go forward and kick goals. That's when you become a real star, if you've got that ability to play midfield and get on the scoreboard. So it's a real important period for the Fremantle Footy Club to show these guys who might be looking to come back home over to the West that's the football club to be playing at, because they can get some immediate success.
Well, if you're looking to sell it, if you put your West Coast hat on, you're saying, well, we're the biggest club. So you come over to you'll be looked after for life, all that sort of stuff. But if you're thinking, well, I want success on the field, surely you'd be looking at the Dockets, wouldn't you?
Oh, exactly, especially if you're in that age bracket that those guys are at. It's like, well, I come over to the West and I can be in a premiership side straight away. And that's the way in which you look at it. Or you go, well, I look at West Coast, and you need to be sold on the vision of their age demographic and where they get to. But the difficult part with
you got to go through
that at the moment, you've got to go to West Coast and you don't know who's going to be coaching. So you want to meet with the coach and go, well, I respect what they're about. I can see the vision going ahead. Unfortunately for West Coast at this period of time, they haven't got a coach, so it's hard for those players to go, you know what, this is where I'm seeing this, what the value that I could add to this football club is. They just don't have that ability at the moment.
It's a pretty important question, isn't it?
Yeah.
As to who the coach is, as to whether you want to commit to your future there. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy, your experts for Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. I'm Matt Clinch alongside Brett Sprigg to call all the action. It's Essendon up against the Fremantle Dockers. Ian Cohen is sitting in the front row this afternoon. Welcome once more, Koza.
Yes, thanks very much, Clinch. And yes, I am available. Happy to take the phone call from the Fremantle Football Club if indeed they would like me to carry the clipboard. Fremantle are in their white strip with the purple chevron. The Bombers in the black with the traditional red sash. The toss has been run and done. It was Zach Merritt that won the toss, and the Bombers will kick to the punt road end. The umpires, Stevens, Hosking, Williamson and Gian Fagna for this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Koza. So all in readiness as the Bombers season goes on the line, while the Dockers look to do some damage at the MCG as they set themselves to climb up the ladder. Here's Brett Sprigg on ABC Sport.
The Rucks, Nick Bryan, Sean Darcy underway on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in Melbourne. One down by Bryan. Parrish with the clearance. Just throws it on the boot. Inside 50 to go quickly. It's ricocheted down here towards Harrison Jones, who snaps and pushes it wide to the right-hand side. So the first score inside 15 seconds. Make it 13 seconds for Essendon. Freo yet to score here at the MCG on this Sunday afternoon.
Well, it looks like we just got full head-to-head in the midfield so far. No one looks like there's a real lock-on. Should be an enthralling battle out there.
That would have been the perfect start for the Bombers as Ryan brings the Dockers back into play. Long towards Darcy. Bryans wrestles with him. It spalls down the way of Martin. Hand pass into the middle of the ground for Redmond for the Bombers. Kicks a long ball inside 50. Menzies is out. Walker makes the spoil. Spoils it out towards the boundary line and it trickles out of play in front of Sharp and Roberts. Roberts, a boundary throw in at right half forward for the Bombers heading to the punt road end in this opening quarter.
I like the start of Bryan in the first clearance, getting tap out to Darcy Parish, then involved in a big spoil against his opposing ruck. Good start.
Back in it comes. Brian wins it down again. Through with numbers though as it comes to Clark. Hurried left foot snap up the outer side. Out to meet the footy is Tracy. Comes back here again for the Dockers. Brayshaw involved. Back to Clark. Rebounding off left half back. His hand pass can release Sharp. Lofts it forward here again. They go through Young. Goes the fend off. Keeps it alive here. Back to Andy Brayshaw. Tackle dispossessed by Merritt. Bombers get the footy back. Overlap here towards half forward. They go inside 50 through Menzie. Contest down in the deep there with Draper and Cox, and the umpire lets them play. Ricochets out into a loose area there for Walker, who's collected, and the umpire says, give it to me. We'll ball up right full forward for the Bombers, who have locked the footy in there. They lead one behind, Freo yet to score.
Tossed in the air, Darcy and Brian. Brian wins down the tap. Chance for O'Meara. He's tackled by Caldwell, brought down. Umpire waves play on. Stringer fights for the footy. Now becomes the tackler on Sarong. With the ball locked in the right forward pocket. Jake just letting him know about it as well.
Started well, good pressure by the Bombers. Had 5 tackles already so far. Bombers fans loving it.
15 metres out from the Bombers' goal. Darcy wins down the tap for Freo. On the move was Caldwell. Can't get a clean disposal away. A clearing kick. Swakowski is taken high from the kick of Young, and a free kick going the way of the Fremantle Dockers.
It's the first time these sides have met at the MCG in 25 years, not since 1999. It's a rare event. Of course, Essendon usually a Docklands tenant. Freo have the footy on half back. Brayshaw takes the uncontested mark. Setting up in front of the Shane Warne stand, southern side of the MCG. Sharp will swing it back. Across to Jordan Clark. It's his 99th game today, Jordan Clark. He retreats back inside D50 for Ryan. I'll switch back here towards the members' side. Ryan has space to move and waits his kick. It's not quite there for Jager O'Meara. Gathered now by Langford for the Bombers. Gets the hand pass back again to Jones. He centres the pass to find Draper. Leading up, 55 out, 45-degree angle. The big man wants to wheel and go now. High to the hot spot now for Essendon. Can they find the leap down there? Lurking Roberts picked off by Sharp for the Dockers, and they can get away off full back. Cox the hand pass to O'Meara. They're out beyond defensive 50.
Kicks up towards Amos, but Laverty in front makes the spoil. Ryan, hand pass to Frederick, brought down by Draper, good tackle. Hand pass to Walker though, across half back the Dockers. Brayshaw to Chapman, hand pass to Young down low. Good pick up from him. Influencey as he links up with Draper. The rising star nominee out to the wing, and Sturt marks. Looks up towards half forward. Jackson's on the lead up against Cox, and he juggles the mark. He's at left half forward, Luke Jackson. He has Tracy leading to the pocket. He sends it in that direction. Getting back Redmond, and he juggles the mark. Providing good support for Ben Mackay. 15 metres out from his defensive goal at the City end. It's the Bombers leading by a point.
Yeah, nice work there by Redmond, getting back to support his fellow defenders. But what I liked was the Essendon midfielders all getting back and filling those holes. There was probably 16 Essendon players all in the D50, so shows the ability to work hard and get back and support the defence.
Roberts on debut. The left foot kick is a bad one here. It goes down the throat down there of Josh Draper. As Kinchy said, rising star nom from last week in the Derby. Goes short to find Jordan Clark. Busy early here for Freo. Little kick to Walker. Just into inside 50 here. Young strikes a tackle. Still going Hayden Young. He'll snap on that left from 45 out. Curls it back to the line. Bounces it through. Nicely works down there. Deep in attack from the Freo players to shepherd that ball through. And Hayden Young has the first goal of the game. 1 straight 6 for Dockers. The Bombers are 1 behind. 5 gone opening term. ABC Sport, your experts, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Yeah, you just spoke about how good the Essendon Bombers midfielders were, their ability to get back and help out. Well, Hayden Young had, if that kick hit, he had space probably 15 metres all around him. No one was near him, and an inability to lock up that tackle just shrugs him off. We spoke about him in the pre-game though. The way he's added that to his game, that ability to get forward and kick goals, is why he's probably the one they go after in terms of tagging. But someone had to be accountable for him, Murph.
Yeah, and then even just the missed tackle. They've tackled really well to open the game here, Essendon, but then Sammy Durham just didn't get that tackle right initially, and the goal results.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. An 11th goal for the season for Hayden Young. Back in the middle of the ground. The Bombers try and get the clearance as Brian one down the tap, and Merritt is locked up. Wagner lays the tackle. There's Sammy Durham in there as well. Umpire throws it up. Darcy And Brian Tangle, it spills down the way of Parrish. Hand pass to Merritt, goes to feign the hand pass, gets it back inboard to Parrish, just gets a kick away as Brayshaw laid the tackle. Gresham leads out, Walker spoils, Jones stripped in the tackle by Cox. Caddy with a hand pass away to Langford. In his milestone game, he swings onto his left, and a goal to remember. Cole Langford with the Bombers opening goal in game 150. And they're on the board and take back the lead by a point. 1-1-7 to the Dockers, 1 straight 6. 6 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport with Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, I said before, I like the start of Brian in the ruck. I think he's competed really hard, getting involved at ground level there too. I like the way in which Essendon just used the ball by hand rather than just banging the ball on the foot. So that's just a really important part of when you're playing inside that centre square, to be able to use the ball by hands if there's an ability to try and do it, because you get 10 or 15 yards in front of where the centre circle is, you can get the ball in a little bit deeper and put the Fremantle defence under a bit of pressure, and that's what they did there. Good harassment at ground level and good hands, and great finish by the 150 gamer.
By the way, in Canberra, Hawthorn leads the Giants by 16 points. We both at the final term there. We start back in the middle of the MCG. Clearance goes by the Bombers here. Merritt on his preferred left side. Angles his kick down again to find Langford. Plays on quickly from the flank. He's 60 from goal. Sends it deep towards the goal square. Getting back Ryan. Wins it down here only as far though as Gresham, whose kick just ricochets through from on a score. Had numbers in defence down there, Freo. But Essendon keep peppering away. 1-8, leading the Dockers to a 1 straight 6. 8 gone in the first term, ABC Sport.
As Ryan brings the Fremantle Dockers back into play. Another great season from Luke Ryan.
Probably a little moment he might want back, Clinch. You reckon? The old double fist that goes straight to the front.
That's probably true. Walker to Sarong in game 100. And that's not his best kick either. An intercepting mark taken by Sam Durham in the middle of the ground for the Bombers. He's 55 metres out from goal, into the pocket. Stringer on the lead. He takes the mark in front of Luke Ryan in the left forward pocket, only about 25 metres out from goal. What a great pass.
Yeah, that's the kick you want. And I think that's probably the last two inside 50s where they've actually had an opportunity to hit up the leads. They've just banged it in and hoped for the best. Essendon, that one opened up some space for one another. Jackie Stringer gets to the end of it.
Opens up the angle. After a goal last week against the Saints, he has a goal in the opening quarter here. And the Bombers, with a little bit of breathing space, open up an 8-point advantage. Essendon 2-2-14 to Fremantle 1 straight 6. The Bombers with the last 2 goals of the match through 8 minutes opening term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, great to get the reward with the goal, but I think the pleasing thing would be the setup defensively and the teasing distance that Sammy Durham had there, the ability to, just make Caleb Sarong think that he could pull that kick off. Yeah, but he's not just on his, pointing the pistols, as we used to say, Murph.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just one Essendon player that intercepted. There was probably 3 or 4 around, which shows you that they're defensively alert. And when you talk about pointing the pistols, it's about trying to get 1 or 2 players inside that area of space where you think you can defend. And Essendon are actually showing at the moment they're defending quite well as a team, and not only just pressuring and tackling really hard, but on those outlets, Fremantle are working hard to try and get it out and can't do so at the moment.
Only 3 goals in his past 4 games before today, Jake Stringer. He's on the board here, though. Errant hand pass from Shield. Eventually, Merritt corrects it there towards Parrish. He sends his kick on the bounce out towards Caddy. He's got the option there with Durham. Releases by hand. Durham goes inside 50 now. It missed down back Walker, but Clark is there for the Dockers. Spun on the Caddy tackle, and his hand pass goes out of bounds for a throw-in right on the junction of 50 at left half forward for the Bombers. They lead by 8 points here. 2-2 plays 1 straight. Midway through this opening term on ABC Sport.
And a goal for Jesse Hogan in Canberra. His 4th goal of the match, and the Giants are back within 10 points. He also passes Charlie Curnow, who was held goalless yesterday in the race for the Coleman medal by 1. Parrish for the Bombers, tries to dribble a kick up towards McGrath. In the end, it's gathered by Roberts on debut. Kicks inside 50 on the bounce. Jones is tackled, brought down by Cox. Stringer on the move, puts through his second as he snaps it on his right-hand side. And that is Jake Stringer at his dangerous best. The Bombers kick 3 goals on the trot to open up a 14-point advantage. 3-2-20 to Fremantle 1 straight 6. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC.
Well, it's a bit jumpy around the stoppage, aren't they, the Dockers, where we spoke about how strong they would be. Caleb Sarong's just grabbed that and just hacked it forward. Again, though, good defensive setup. Andy McGrath coming forward off a half-back flank there, an ability to come forward, intercept that. young Archie Roberts. Just a indescript kick forward, wasn't it? But Harry Jones coming forward at the footy. And we've spoken about Jake Stringer and his ability to have high impact in a short period of time. He's got 2 already.
It was actually his work rate. He was up, involved in the stoppage, just outside their forward 50, then Essendon, but just working hard to get drop of the ball and gets his reward.
Bombers by 14 early. One down here by Draper. It's Hayden Young who bursts over that for the Dockers. Has a couple of bounces. He's unmarked. Runs inside 50. From 30 out, he fires on goal, and he has 2 in a hurry as well. Who was watching Hayden Young? That was far too easy. Centre bounce clearance, 3 bounces and the finish. He's got 2 goals and Freo respond. 3-2-20 Essendon. The Dockers are 2 straight 12.
Well, that's probably as big a defensive breakdown as what you'll see. Firstly, from the stoppage, Essendon just didn't have a sweeper. Perfect hit out in the middle of the ground, and Young just got on the back end of the centre circle and took 1 bounce and no one came at him.
And no one chased.
Essendon player who was playing in the defensive 50 just stayed with their man. And they're all the Fremantle players who were just smart enough to understand that Young had all the space and no one was chasing him whatsoever. So pull away, get away from the player who's got the ball. And was able to take, I think, 3 bounces at the end and run to about 40 and kick an easy goal.
I think it was Dylan Shield who was alongside him, and Parrish, yeah. Normally, Spriggy, you'd think of Chris Judd sort of bursting out of the middle. This was just no one near him, and it all opened up in front of him. Bombers by 8 points. A secondary ball up in the middle of the ground. Draper and Jackson. It spills down the way of Jackson once more. Gets the quick hand pass away. Clark links up with Wagner. Back edge of the centre square for the Dockers. Up towards half forward. Banfield just got rid of his opponent. Takes the mark. Edge of the centre square. Inside 50. Looking for Tracy. Draper trying to get back to help Mackay. Picked up by Darren for the Bombers. Hand pass to Redmond. Kicks out to Harry Jones. Sliding on his knees. At right half back on the Shane Warne stand side. Essendon leading by 8 points.
Reminded me of like when the whistle goes, but one bloke doesn't hear it. He just streaks away. That's how easy it was for Hayden Young. Up the outer side here. Jones, the Bombers. Pack forms, spills out the back. Sarong slides off the inside of the boot, and now it's 1 down there. The Bombers. Durham tries to knock it clear. Hand pass comes back here to Wagner for the Dockers. Shares it now with Young. He's 52 out. Angled kick. It's good vision. Sliding to take the mark. It was nice work down there by Jeremy Sharp. And Jeremy Sharp will tumble and take his set shot from just inside 50. An angle better than 45 degrees.
Yeah, again,
good vision, wasn't it?
Yeah, that kick was. The Sarong kick I'm not 100% sure on. He's had 3 kicks at 0% so far, but the follow-up post that and the ability to have numbers around it and clean it up was what Justin Long will be really happy with.
He's played every game so far for his new club, Jeremy Sharp. Turns 22 next week. He fires on goal from 40, and it's away to the right-hand side for a minor score. They're first behind. 2-1-13, Freo. They trail Essendon 3-2-20. 14 gone first turn. ABC Sport.
We talked about a few potential matchups through the midfield. If I was Brad Scott, I'd be looking pretty hard at a few of their midfielders at the moment, but thinking, well, Hayden Young's had 7 disposals, kicked the 2 goals, almost had direct assist. Someone's got to go to him at this point.
Laverty trying to sell some candy around Frederick. Eventually gave it to Redmond, who kicks up towards half back. And here's Roberts on debut getting involved. Kicks to Nick Martin. Hand pass around the back to Nick Cox. Banfield comes charging at him. Hand pass to Roberts. Now towards the boundary line under pressure. Has to lay the tackle on O'Meara. Hand pass back into the play. Banfield's little toe poke to Sturt. That works. Back to Banfield. Now to Sarong. Inside 50. It's over the head of Tracy. It's spoiled away in the end. A juggling mark almost claimed by Emmett. Not taken. And Ben Mackay for the Bombers. Hand pass over the top to Caldwell. Fires the hand pass out to right half back. Kelly's careful with his kick over the top to Langford, who marks it right half back.
The milestone man sends it short to Caldwell again. He's out with some space on the outer side. Room to bounce here for Jai Caldwell, the former Giant. Kicks towards the flank. He does find a presenting target. They go inside forward 50 here. It's high towards the top of the goal square. Leaping up Caddy. Got an effective spoil down there initially from Josh Draper. And Luke Ryan sees it through for a minor score. Good dash it was from Harry Jones on the outer side.
I've to see him kick the goal though, Spriggy.
Yeah, it didn't quite go all the way. Harrison Jones had the first score of the game as well. 3-3 plays 2-1. Essendon's lead here is 8 points, 16 gone first term.
You're breaking the 50, back yourself in, pop it through rather than kick the 1v2.
Ryan played on, went with the hand pass to Walker, who now bounds away from Jake Stringer. Kicks up the wing towards Emmett. Got a cruel bounce against Langford. Ben Mackay races back to offer support. Gathers the Bombers key defender gets the hand pass to Dersma, kicks up the wing. Harry Jones arms outstretched, can't mark as Clark makes the spoil. Little toe poke though, doesn't quite work from Dersma, and Walker is waiting for that. Played on and tackled by Caldwell. Hand pass to Chapman, turned boundary side and then corridor. Nothing on offer, so back to the boundary side. Kicks up towards Tracy, out number 2 on 1. Did well to spoil it down. Gets it to Sturt. Hand pass to Sarong. Looks up in the middle of the ground and pushing forward. Tracy takes the mark. They're on the break there, and Erasmus just was able to wait his kick over the top, and Josh Tracy marks pretty much directly in front, 45 metres out from goal.
Yeah, it was good composure, wasn't it?
Kick. Yeah.
It's just to not bang it in and hope for the best. Wait for your forwards to work hard and present into some space. And it was a great bit of work right there from Tracy. He was involved in the contest up on the centre wing and just working really hard back towards goal into that pocket of space.
42 goals of the season for Josh Tracy, who turns 22 today. He comes in from 45 metres out and puts through a goal to celebrate. Fremantle close the gap to 2 points Essendon's way. 17 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport. The Bombers 3-3-21, the Dockers 3-1-19. Freo with the last 2 goals of the match. Brent Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. The Hawks currently still hold a little gap over the Giants by 16 points after Luke Bruce's last goal, 12-10-82 to the Giants 9-12-66.
It's got a bit of shootout about it at the moment, just a bit of end-to-end stuff at the moment, Murph. But I like the way the Dockers are, they're covering off in terms of their midfielders are working over. And you spoke about Essendon getting back. They've had a few boys get back, but if they don't hit their targets going forward, it's going to open them up. And that's, you spoke about the Tracy work rate, his ability to compete and then get back inside forward 50. Great little touch kick from our boy Neil.
He's the most proficient first quarter goal scorer, Josh Tracy. 13 goals, make it 14 goals in first quarters this year. And we'll see a ruck infringement here going the way of the Bombers. Bryan goes wide to the wing now. Inside 50 through Shield to Caldwell. He's 55 from goal. Releases a hand pass here. They go neat to the pocket. Dersma can find the target there. Gresham got a big shove. But he will take his set shot, Jade Gresham, from deep in the right forward pocket, 30 out.
Yeah, well done by Essendon mids there, who once the whistle was blown, just got on their bike and just worked hard, really into some space ahead of the football and just used the ball pretty easily to find Gresham sitting there in the forward pocket.
The former Saint, who was goalless against his old side last week. Jade Gresham, he kicks here with a check side effort and makes no mistake. It is an MCG shootout. 4-3-27, the Bombers lead Fremantle 3-1-19. 19 gone first term. ABC Sport, your experts Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
It was a strange one there from Fremantle, wasn't it? Like the free kick was obvious, but the Dockers midfield was just sort of just hung around, and to Essendon's credit, they just got on their bike and just was streaming forward. But yeah, pretty uncharacteristic from Fremantle there, just to not really work back hard at all. But yeah, we're certainly seeing a shootout here at the Jeep.
It's good though, good from a spectator's point of view to see lots of goals. Clinky, what do you think?
I'm not sure it's exactly the statement I expected from the Bombers defensively, but anyway, conceded 10 goals to 3 in the second half against the Saints last week, but it's entertaining for the neutrals, and I guess for the Essendon fans for the moment they lead. Back in the middle. Darcy does the tangling with Bryan, who won down the tap. Young tries to knock it on for the Fremantle Dockers to half forward Kelly. Quick hand pass to Merritt, to Martin, to Parrish. All by hand. Hand pass now to Jones. Back to Zach Merritt. The Essendon captain at left half back. Kicks up towards Menzies. Had to use his body against Wagner illegally, says the umpire. Free kick going the way of the Fremantle Dockers. Corey Wagner to take it on the members' side centre wing. Essendon leading by 8 points. Here's Brett Sprigg on ABC Sport.
Second year at his third club, Corey Wagner. He's now played most of his games for Fremantle. Well, the most of any of his previous 2 stints. Up towards half forward now, 2-on-2. Darcy outbodies Bryan, lays off the hand pass quickly here for Banfield. Pops it inside 50, leading up down there, trying to make something of it is Amos. It's mopped up down there. Sturt was there as well for the Dockers, and now Parrish pulls it back into the corridor where it is marked out there by Caldwell. So he'll control things just inside defensive 50. Bombers lead by 8 points here. We've just hit time on in the opening term at the MCG. Swinging across the defensive goal mouth. Redmond goes beyond defensive 50 and he can link up out wide to Dersma.
And a pretty good game last week in a losing side. Xavier Tersman, the former power player, kicks up the wing. Caddy presents. Draper's there with him. Redmond's hand pass to McGrath. Little fumble gets around Andy Brayshaw. Hand pass to Caldwell. To Parrish. They're out now. Redmond dodging and weaving through the middle of the G. Sturt just put a bump on in late. The kick out to Roberts at left half forward. Looks inside 50. Shield on the lead. Sliding in down low. Clark did well. It ricochets off his knee. Roberts thinks he has the mark. Not paid, and the umpire will pull it up.
I think the crowd thought that too.
Yeah, Cox came racing in to lay the tackle. Everyone was sort of in two minds. The ball up in the left forward pocket for the Bombers.
Up it goes. Darcy palms it down. Banfield collared. Umpire will ball it up again.
Goal to the Giants, back to 10 points. Hawthorn's lead.
Massive game, that one, in the nation's capital. Darcy down here again for Brayshaw. Hand pass releases Young. Wide here back to Wagner, who can rebound off half back. Kicks out into some space where it is marked down there by Jai Amos. 10 goals in his past 5 games. He's a long way from home here. Through hands it comes again. Back to Switkowski. Back out wide to Neil Erasmus. And he's pushed off the kick. It does bounce inside forward 50. Sits up down there for Mackay. Keeps it alive now for Caldwell. He evades a tackle, fires it back here. It's a pressure ball as McGrath traps it. Does well. It's like a basketball dribble away here. Parrish with a hand pass, and now back to Menzies. They can rebound off half back through Kelly, and he goes wide to find his skipper on the members' wing.
Merritt has it at left half back. Hand pass around the back to Caldwell, who runs the boundary line on the members' side. Kicks up towards Draper and Gresham. It clears both. Clark worked underneath it as Cox gets back for the Fremantle Dockers. Hand pass to O'Meara. They look to link up across half back. That's not a great kick. Turns it over. Chapman straight to Zach Merritt, who takes the intercepting mark. Kicks to Menzies at centre half forward. Looks into the pocket. Kicks looking for Shield. Can't take the mark. Trying to hold off Wagner. Hand pass back to Menzies. In a bind. Jams it on his right boot. Won't have the journey. And Brennan Cox in the defensive goal square takes the mark. Out to O'Meara. A goal for Jesse Hogan. All of a sudden the game is coming to life. Single-digit margin. The Hawks lead by in Canberra.
Move it quickly here. Freo O'Meara's kick is a bouncing ball towards Brayshaw. He had around the ball though for a moment. Now it's a big bump down there from Amos. And it's going to be in fact too high. An Essendon free kick as the man going for the footy does receive the free kick. It's Roberts, the debutant, Archie Roberts. He'll have it just forward of the wing on the members' side.
Started pretty well at the 5 touches.
Left footer leads up here and finds Caddy, his fellow 24 debutant now. He turns around here, Caddy, 45 from goal. High ball, top of the square, and just knocked through, and that time by Chapman, guarded through by Corey Wagner. So a behind to Essendon, 4-4-28. They lead Freo 3-1-19, 24 gone first term.
I can't help but feel that if Freo can just stay in touch here, they'll see off the best of Essendon.
Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, Archie Roberts already starting with a bit of cult status, the Essendon crowd, which is smaller than expected, but up and off their plastic every time he gets near it.
Wagner kicks long towards Darcy. A free kick going the way of the Fremantle Dockers. Up to 6 disposals. Young Archie Roberts. Jesse Hogan with that 5th goal has made it a 4-point ball game in Canberra. So keep half an eye on that, Lids, because the ramifications are huge. If the Giants lose, they'll slip down to 8th, and the Hawks will just be behind them in 9th.
They've just hit the front.
Right on cue. Tom Green, the Canberra local. You watch that. I'll watch Andy Brayshaw. It kicks up to half forward. Darcy just drops the chest mark, which was a rather comfortable mark. Spills out. A chance for Laverty for the Bombers on half back. Hand pass away to Parrish, and now Caldwell left half back. Kick is smothered by Darcy, and Brayshaw tries to knock it away. Darcy slides in. Caldwell over the top of him. Umpire's going to pay holding the ball. And Sam Darcy, big Sean Darcy, was the last on top of the footy. Free kick of the Bombers at left half back.
Just a calamity of errors in the last couple of minutes. Just which side's going to make them pay and take their opportunity.
Kick. Wants the grab down there. There's Durham. It's one at ground level here. Durham follows up, does well. Hand pass back to Parrish. And now to Merritt. Can he release someone there? Brian run down by Switkowski on the logo. Ricochets down towards Ryan now for the Dockers. Room to bounce. Just evades the Durham tackle. High inside 50 here for Freo Jackson. Strong contested grab. He had Laverty with him. Eyes for the footy, arms straight up, pulls it down, 35 out, slight angle right of centre.
Right on, Luke Ryan. That ability just to take, not just kick it straight away, but to get an extra 5-10 metres, just got that penetration that got over the top of Laverty, whatever we're saying today.
just didn't stand a chance, did he? Once the ball was in the air, Burge just had no opportunity to try and get back and contest that football. And great depth kick by Jackson.
He kicked 3 goals last time these sides met, round 15 last year at Perth Stadium. Here he is lining up for his first of the afternoon. Jackson on the approach, straight over the goal umpire's hat. Freo closed the gap once more. It's a 3-point game, Essendon's favour. 4-4-28. The Dockers who are 4-1-25. 26 gone, first quarter here at the MCG. Meanwhile in Canberra, the Giants are in front. 12-12 plays 12-10 over Hawthorn. So a thriller coming up there in the dying stages.
So we mentioned if the Giants lose, they could have dropped to 8th. If they win, they'll surge to 3rd.
Yep.
That's how big it is. After Tom Green gave them the lead, Hawthorn led by 28 points at the start of the final term.
Yeah, and as I said before, I feel like if Freo can just stay in touch here, they're going to be in this game right up to their eyeballs, because we've seen Essendon with their fluctuations and drop-off. But I'm not sure they can continue to go for the full 4 quarters.
That's right. Well, they're ahead in almost every stat of the game so far, Essendon. They've had the 15 inside 50s to 10. Win the clearances 7-5, so they're just going to make the most of these opportunities. But you're right, Fremantle just sticking around.
Darcy wins down the tap, back in the middle of the ground. Caldwell gets the clearance though for the Bombers. Hand pass to Parrish, kicks out towards Roberts and Caddy. Caddy flies and takes the mark in front of Banfield. Onto his right, Draper's the lead. And Marks, as you heard, a beautiful pass as he jumped up and claimed the mark. Out to the left, 45 metres out from goal. But the angle shouldn't trouble him.
Impressive from young Nate Caddy. You're looking at your centre-half forward almost for the future there, aren't you? His ability to hit the wings and be that outlet for Parrish out of the centre. Yeah, just a nice kick. Draper, not the most natural forward that I've seen, so this will be big for his confidence if he can knock it through.
5 goals, 6 for the season for Sam Draper. As he starts right on 50, he leans into it. It's out to the right. It's coming back and it clears Darcy's fingertips on the line. An answering goal for the Bombers after Freo had kicked 3 of the previous 4. And Essendon are back out by 9 points. 5-4-34 to the Dockers, 4-1-25. A shootout at the MCG. 28 minutes gone. Final minute at Canberra. There is an ABC call available on the ABC Listen app. The Giants holding on to a 2-point lead over the Hawks.
Just the clearances out of the centre square there by Essendon. We've seen obviously an amazing one from Hayden Young earlier, kicking a goal from the clearance, but just the pressure coming out of there is pretty insignificant at the moment from both teams when they do get their opportunity to defend. But I've liked the way in which they've used the ball out of their centre square so far, Essendon. And you're right, Lid's talking about Nate Caddy there, just the ability to take the grab and just to turn on a dime and lace out his key ruckman in Sammy Draper was really, really important.
A wonky bounce to get us restarted, so we'll have it again here at the MCG. Essendon by 9 points, dying seconds in Canberra.
Giants are home, Spriggy.
They are. So 5 seconds left, lead by 2 points. That's 5 straight wins. They were 5 goals down in that game as Caldwell clears the footy here at the MCG. Skids out towards Caddy, bounced off his shins down there for Walker, who's wrapped up. Dockers can rebound perhaps. O'Meara takes on the tackler. It was great work out there by Dersmo. Wrapped him up and the tackler is rewarded at right half forward.
Good hunt, wasn't it? An ability to stick that one.
So the Giants and Hawthorn's winning run. And reaffirm their top 4 place. Up inside 50 here for Essendon. Caddy launching at the drop. Banfield slips the tackle. Just gets a hand pass away in time. Ryan pressured down there by Jones. Bobbles around here, comes now to Sturt. He can turn that kick corridor side, and now they can just hurry the kick beyond defensive 50. It was nice work out there. As Switkowski masked, that was Erasmus, who finds Switkowski at right half back, and now a 45-degree angle kick to find Bailey Banfield.
Banfield plays on, dodges and weaves, gets a good block from Wagner. Oh, he ran too fast, says the umpire. And Bailey Banfield is going to have to give back the footy. Caldwell takes it on the members wing, hand pass to Langford, releases the runner McGrath, drives a high kick inside 50, Freo well set, Walker underneath, Menzies tried to put the block on, now he's got an issue, Walker, as he's locked up. 25 metres out from the Bombers' goal at the Punt Road end. Just repeating that full-time score, the Giants 12-12-84, Hawthorn 12-10-82. The Giants with 7 goals to 2 in the final term, coming back from a 28-point deficit, with Tom Green booting the eventual winner. As Luke Ryan is tackled out of play, not rewarded the tackle from Zach Merritt, and a throw in the left forward pocket for the Bombers.
Big sound, Lids.
Yeah, they're going well, the G-men at the moment, although I was a bit worried most of the time through that game, if I'm being honest.
Essendon by 9 points here. Back in it comes inside 50 at the punt road end. Parrish waiting for it. Brayshaw meets some front-on contact and will receive a free kick. It was incidental from Darcy Parrish. Brayshaw carrying the footy, went straight into him.
I think Brad Scott, we're just loving the hunt.
Yeah, 21 tackles already.
Just the pressure around the stoppage at the moment. It's just been through the roof by the Bombers.
Freo Vice Captain has the final kick of the opening quarter here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And we saw 9 goals in that first half hour of play. So Essendon 5-4-34. Lead the Dockers 4-125 here on this Sunday afternoon. It was 2 early goals for Jake Stringer, singles for Essendon to Draper, Langford and Gresham, while for the Dockers, Hayden Young has 2, Josh Tracy has 1, and I've missed someone else, Clenchy. What have I had my eyes down as I've...
Young's got 2, Tracy and Jackson.
That's the one. Called it too.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The goal scorers for the Fremantle Dockers. So Essendon, we've seen the response with, as Murph and Lids may mention, 21-9 tackles in the opening quarter. And the Giants defeat the Hawks by 2 points, 12-12-84 to Hawthorn at 12-10-82 off the back of 7 goals to 2 in the final term. Jesse Hogan with 5 goals. He moves past Charlie Curnow, who was held goalless last night against the Magpies. He is the new leader in the Coleman medal, and the Giants at one stage having trailed in that final term, the potential they could have slid to 8th. Instead, with victory, they're up to 3rd, and the Hawks are in 9th spot, so they could potentially slip down to 10th depending on what happens with the Bombers here. Great to have your company on Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Roy and HG. This medal-winning duo are no strangers to the City of Lights. But, mais ami, it's not just the Olympic Games. It's the culture, the fashion, the politics, the art, the opera, plus BMX bikes and weightlifting. That's people, medals and cheese daily during the Olympics across the nation, teetering on the brink of joyful chaos on ABC Radio and on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Jordan Clark, busy early here for Freo. Little kick to Walker. Just inside 50 here. Young shrugs a tackle. Still going Hayden Young. He'll snap on that left from 45 out. Curls it back to the line. Bounces it through.
Harridge just gets a kick away as Brayshaw laid the tackle. Gresham leads out. Walker spoils. Jones stripped in the tackle by Cox. Caddy with a half pass away to Langford. In his milestone game, he swings onto his left. And a goal to remember. In the end, it's gathered by Roberts on Deboo. Kicks inside 50 on the bounce. Jones' tackle brought down by Cox. Stringer on the move. Puts through his second as he snaps it on his right-hand side. And that is Jake Stringer at his dangerous best.
One down here by Draven. It's Hayden Young who bursts over that for Dockers. Has a couple of bounces. He's unmarked. Runs inside 50 from 30 out. He fires on goal and he has 2 in a hurry as well. Who was watching Hayden Young? Merritt, can he release someone there? Brian run down by Switkowski on the logo. Ricochets down towards Ryan now for the Dockers. Room to bounce, just evades the Durham tackle. High inside 50 here for Freo. Jackson, strong contested grab. Jackson on the approach, straight over the goal umpire's hat.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. 9 goals in the opening quarter, in which the Bombers booted 5 goals to 4. They lead 5-4-34 to Fremantle 4-1-25. Macklich and Brett Sprigg calling the action. Ian Cohen down on the boundary. The thoughts of our experts, our number 1 picks, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Yeah, it was a great first quarter by the Essendon Footy Club, just basically in almost every stat that is available to us. They are certainly ahead, and they're ahead of the game by 9 points as well, and they get that reward for all their hard work, especially around the contest lids. The contested possession, they're ahead +4, and the clearances, they're ahead 9-6. But the one telling stat for mine is just the tackling.
Yep.
So they missed 1 tackle, which led to a Fremantle goal. Outside of that, they've had the 21 tackles to Fremantle's 9, and then the inside 50s too. I think their work around the centre clearances has been really strong, and it hasn't just been hack hits forward. It's actually been handballs out, hit a hit on a lead to an Essendon forward, and then it's get it in long and put the Fremantle defence under pressure. So they've had the 18 inside 50s to Fremantle's 10 in that first quarter. So if they can do that over the 4 quarters, Lids, they're going to be pretty hard to stop. But that's the real challenge for Essendon is for the rest of the day against a top 4 team, I think, in Fremantle, is to be able to do it for 4 quarters. It's been an area of the game they probably haven't been able to do it for quite a while, and they're letting themselves down. So that's the challenge for Brad Scott to this Essendon team in this second quarter, is produce some of the same. There's no doubt that Fremantle will have some momentum at some point. So they're going to have to be... Weather that storm when it comes, but also just get back to their DNA, which is when they've been at their best this year. It's been around the contest, the tackling, the hunt, and the pressure.
I think the concerning thing for Justin Longmuir would be is that the ease in which they are going inside 50, if they can force some more dump kicks, I don't think they've got the tall timber down there. They're going to take big marks. I mean, Draper hasn't shown us that really just yet, and Caddy's only young and inexperienced. Jones is more of a lead-up type marker as well. So the ability to actually get it in there and then scrounge goals from, putting the pressure on and that sort of thing is what would be really pleasing for Brad Scott. But they got to limit that supply, don't they? The Dockers, they're walking through, and then I think it was most evident with that free kick, in the middle of the ground, where there was just like the free kick given, but then Essendon was able to spread wherever they wanted to, and then they find an easy target inside forward 50 in Gresham. So look, there's some cause for concern if you're the Dockers, but you'd be very happy if you're an Essendon supporter, given how they've started. The key will be, can they maintain it? Yep. And that's what we haven't seen probably, for large chunks this year. But they would have got a little rev, I reckon, the Dockers, in terms of what they need to now bring, and it's going to be over to the Bombers to sharpen up and meet it head on.
On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Luca at Port. Draper better from 40 metres out than 15 metres out. Simon from Largs Bay says Cox not strong enough. Mackay one-handed attempt. Backline so fragile. Keep your messages coming as we're ready for the second quarter to get underway. The Bombers by 9 points. Here's Brett Sprigg.
Back underway. Brian and Darcy do the ruck work. Parrish is beaten there to the footy by Hayden Young. Slips over, gets the hand pass away though. Is trying to turn inside out there. Clark run down by Durham. Off here to Walker at half back, and he's collected. In fact, it's Draper, Josh Draper, who's going to give it back to the umpire for a ball up.
A lot of Dockers players slipping, Spriggy. I know Dimmer would be giving us a message at half time.
Check the studs.
Yep.
Parrish off to Merritt here. 65 from goal for Essendon. Pops over the top. Sharp chucks it back with the flight. He's run down by Roberts. Overrun by Stringer. Ryan there for the Dockers. Trying to work it away from defence, and he's heaped over the boundary line by Jake Stringer. No change to our quarter-time score. Essendon by 9 points here. Earlier, the Giants beat Hawthorn by 2 points in Canberra.
Floodlights are on here at the MCG. A cool day in Melbourne, around 10 degrees, with pretty good crowd in for a Sunday afternoon. Plenty of Freo fans at the city end, thrown in. Darcy knocks it down to Young, tackled and dispossessed by Brian. Holding the ball, says the umpire, in the middle of the ground. And the Bombers want to take the advantage. They're allowed to. Merritt's hand pass to Parrish. Inside 50, Walker makes the spoil against Menzies, and there's no opportunity for Chapman to break clear. The umpire will ball it up.
Just good work there by Menzies in the air, just to try and force another contest in the air, other than rely on that intercept play by Fremantle, just causing a contest, and here we get another stoppage.
Brian one down the tap, Stringer's on the move, he can't get a kick away, it's smothered. Langford races after it, spills out the way of Roberts, who's been impressive. His kick though towards the goal mouth is marked by Chapman on his chest in front of Menzies. He looks to come into the corridor, and Clark takes the mark.
Jordan Clark can blitz away here. Sends his kick beyond defensive 50, wide of the wing, where marking in space is Tom Emmett. Came back into the side, kicked 3 last week. Defensive side of the wing here for Fremantle. Emmett coming in board here. Parrish comes late on Walker, but the Docker controls it.
It's pretty stagnant here by the Dockers. Just can't really find a way through.
Walker's kick picked off by Jones. Essendon are away here. Hand pass releases Merritt. The skipper has room. Looks at the options inside 50 over the back of Stringer. Chapman there as well, making a contest. Goes the bump. Picked up by Ryan in defence, and now Switkowski. Caldwell in the back of him. And the umpire says, give it to me for a ball up at half forward for the Bombers. They lead 5-4 to 4-1. 9 points is the margin. 3 gone second term, ABC Sport.
Caldwell leads away with 13 disposals. Merritt and Parrish with 12. 10 for Clark. And centre half forward for the Bombers. A chance for Andy Brayshaw. Through traffic, gets the hand pass away to Sharp. Takes a bounce and links the hand pass over the top to Young. Arches the back and runs away from Merritt. Looks up towards half forward. Amos on the lead. He marks in front of Laverty. He's at right half forward, still a good 2 kicks out from goal. Hang on, a 50-metre penalty will make him a lot closer. As I think Archie Roberts has potentially run through the protected area. Have a look on the replay there.
I just did, and he wasn't that close. I don't know what's happened there. If that's the reason, well, that's rubbish.
That's the reason, because he pointed at him and said that he came in the protected area. But what's he supposed to do?
Look, he's chasing.
He's within probably 6-7 metres of an opponent.
But he's not running
he's
right in his pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So Jai Amos from right half forward, now inside 50, only around 25 metres out. 29 goals of the season for his first of the afternoon. Amos comes in and he makes no mistake. The margin cut back to 3 to start this second quarter. And a little goal celebration as well. Essendon 5-4-34, Fremantle 5-1-31. 4 minutes gone, second term on ABC Sport. The Giants 2-point winners over Hawthorn, their 5th consecutive win in Canberra. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
You see, you'd rather see those ones that are erring on the side of should I play it, should I not, because it's such a significant outcome with the 50-metre. Err on the side of not, because that was so borderline. He couldn't,
As to the letter of the law, it might be there, but
But he's not in his short. If he's in Giant Amos's shorts there and he's right beside him, he's running through that area, so he can't kick. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But not if he's 10 metres off.
That's not holding up any form of ability to go through the corridor, which is why the rule's there.
The margin has not gone beyond 14 points. That was the Bombers' lead midway through the first term. 3 points the margin now. It's won away by Freo, although Parrish does grab the footy, shares it with Caldwell, shrugs the tackle there of Sarong, closes to 48, fires on goal, misses to the right-hand side. So a quick clearance again from Brad Scott's men. But the goal goes begging. 5-5 plays 5-1. Essendon lead here by 4 points.
I like that from Darcy Parrish, playing on the half-forward flank and just streaming into the centre clearance and putting his name on that football. I like that to see him coming in and being aggressive and getting his hands on the footy.
Ryan brings Freo back into play, out towards Darcy and Jackson. Neither can take the mark. Front and centre, Andy Brayshaw, though. Quick hand pass to Sarong. Back to Brayshaw. To Banfield at left half forward on the members' side. Good kick into the middle of the ground. Finds Swakowski. Didn't have to move. A beautiful pass with that 50 as he was held up by Caldwell. He looks with a bullet pass inside 50 and leading up Josh Tracy, licking his lips as a bullet pass comes his way.
Yeah, back-to-back great kicks there. It was Banfield initially. He saw the open one. There was probably a handball received coming past him. He's like, you know what, I think I can get this just out the back to Sutkowski. And he was just patient with his kick as well, underneath hands, to put it onto the chest of Tracy. Mackay had no chance.
Amos a few moments ago. Now Josh Tracy to put Freo back in front from 35 metres out, directly in front. Josh Tracy with his second. And after the Dockers kick the opening goal of the match, they now return to the lead by 2 points, 6-1-37 to the Bombers, 5-5-35. Matt Lynch and Brett Spreek calling the action. Ian Cohen down on the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, there's different types of courage in football. There's the courage to put your head over the football and cop the hit, cop the knock, but there's also the courage to back your leg in and go for that kick where most guys probably don't want to go for it because they don't want to turn the ball over. But you see the result when you actually have penetration in your kick and have the courage to go for those kicks through the middle of the ground, and exactly what Banfield did, and just opened up the game for his team, and they get a goal on the back of his courage to have that ability to go through the corridor and back his leg in.
Voice of former Carlton skipper Mark Murphy. 4th lead change of the game. Dockers lead by 2. Clearance though with Shield, back to Bryan, to Parrish. Fast work again from Bombers. He goes inside forward 50, skids out towards the pocket where it's tracked by Stringer. He gets one tackle broken and now comes back across to half forward. Bailey Banfield runs onto it now. Where sweeps the hand pass wide back to O'Meara. We've got a whistle here coming back for Bailey Banfield. Didn't see exactly what happened there for Bailey Banfield, but he'll have it off centre half back here for the Dockers. It's a neat pass to find Erasmus, right, his arms chopped. It's another free kick on the back edge of the square. Works it wide by hand here to Wagner. He wheels and goes quickly. Leading up is Tracy. Turns 80 from goal. Pops it inside the arc now. Presenting down there. It was a little too deep. Although Frederick in the pocket can break one tackle. He's run down from behind by Nick Cox. And as a result, it will be an Essendon ball at full back at the punt road end. Dockers lead by 2. 8 gone second term ABC Sport.
Right on Nick Cox there, who's got a job there on Jackson, but just saw a dangerous man, came and tackled him and forced a turnover.
Cox to McGrath across the face of goal and then out to Laverty, who takes the mark in the right back pocket. Under the Olympic stand here at the MCG. Fremantle by 2 points. His kick is smothered. Amos comes charging in. Makes the spoil, much to the delight of his fellow forwards, and a boundary throw in the left forward pocket for the Fremantle Dockers.
Yeah, it's good energy lift of that when one of your key targets, your key forward, gets a defensive smother and get an opportunity to set up and get another forward 50 stoppage.
A couple of lates out at Docklands, our next stop for St Kilda and the Brisbane Lions. Eric Kipwood out. We'll bring you that in a moment. Bryan wins down the tap for the Bombers. Redmond in defence, dodging and weaving. Hand pass to McGrath. Switches play out to left half back. And Dersma takes the mark.
25 touches against the Saints last week. Xavier Dersma on in turn to Nick Cox. Up the line to Kelly. One of their 4 inclusions this week, Jake Kelly. Fires the hand passes. Again, Dersma kept running. Room to bounce. No, that's an untidy handball wide to Shield. Goes out of bounds for a throw-in on the outer side of the MCG.
Interesting play, that one, wasn't it? Spriggy, that playing on without really a plan and then handballing to a bloke who had someone on him.
I don't mind playing on without a plan, but when you bounce, when it's going to put you under pressure, that's always a bit of a worry. Just forced his hand to have to make a rush decision.
Dockers by 2 points. Bryan stands strong, just hacks it towards half forward, overrun by Langford. Dockers with numbers. Wagner dummies the hand pass and now kicks rather neatly on the bounce. It'll arrive. And the rest is up to Josh Tracy. Does trap the footy. Works it back here towards O'Meara. He kicks straight into Ben Mackay on the logo member's side. Recovered here by Chapman. The Dockers go inside forward 50. 2 on 2. Back with the flight. Frederick!
Good hands.
He had his teammate Jackson leading up. He dropped back in the hole, and Michael Frederick completes the mark. 25 out directly in front.
Chapman came through with a full head of steam, didn't he? It was great pick-up and just part of the season. Caleb Strong was like, what the hell was wrong with me? Just 20 metres in front of you. And
one of those perfect ones in footy where you get ignored and then you're like, why didn't you kick it? And then you take a mark. Yeah, well done.
Thinking you're invisible.
Yeah.
Michael Frederick kicked 3 goals in the derby last week against the Eagles, lining up for his 18th major of the year. On the approach, he steers it through. The Dockers with back-to-back goals in this game to now lead by 8 points over Essendon. It's Fremantle 7-1-43. The Bombers are 5-5-35. 11 gone second term on ABC Sport. Your experts, Brett Deludio and Mark Murphy.
Well, it's a real important period now, Lids, where they're starting to get challenged, Essendon. So now you look to your leaders to really try and get the game back on your terms. They've got momentum at the moment, the Dockers, and it's a bit of their polish, which I think is separating the two sides at the moment. I think the last time that Essendon went inside 50, they missed probably 2 or 3 kicks they probably should have hit. Conversely, Fremantle go forward and hit those kicks. So that's the difference in the game at the moment is the polish. But Essendon need to get back to pressuring hard, not allowing those easy disposals going inside 50, but working hard, forcing turnovers and not allowing those balls to go inside 50, lace out to their forwards.
3 goals to none in this second term so far, Clinchy.
All of a sudden the Dockers have taken over. Draper wins down the tap against Darcy. Little toe poke from Shield. Up towards Menzies. Taps it out in front of him and Wagner. Half pass inboard looking for Draper though. Darcy in front. Knocks it out for the Dockers. A chance for Young trying to knock it on to Wagner. Dodging and weaving. Menzies lays the tackle. Good follow up. Caldwell gathers the loose footy. Hacks the kick inside 50 on the bounce of Stringer. Can't take the mark with Ryan in tow. Walker tries to clean it up. Hand pass close to the boundary line and Sharp is taken out by Jake Stringer. So a late change at Docklands to follow us for the Brisbane Lions. Eric Hipwood is out and Bruce Revel comes in. He'll be the sub alongside Paddy Dow, while Ryan Burns is out for the Saints and Angus McClellan will make his debut for St Kilda this afternoon. So under the roof, St Kilda and Brisbane to close out the weekend's footy. Draper at the throw-in, works underneath Darcy, kicks long towards half forward and Jones has it spoiled away as Cox sees it through for a minor score.
I think that's McLennan.
McLennan, thank you.
Dockers by 7 points here at the MCG. Luke Ryan to kick out from goal at the city end. Where the upper tier is sparse of spectators. There's a few of the members up the top, but it's mostly lower bowl here at the G. 86,000 here last night for Collingwood Carlton. A few less today. Parrish off here on the logo. Wide kick is measured well from Nick Martin to its target down there, and marking is Harrison Jones. Attacking side of the wing here for the Bombers. Jones comes back inboard to find Mackay. Played every game this year for his new club, Ben Mackay. Hand pass off to Durham. He loads up. Deep ball inside forward 50, and it's marked by Jackson. No, just bobbled up over the boundary line for a throw-in. So a stoppage inside 50 here for the Bombers at the city end of the MCG. But it's Freo who lead by 7 points.
The poor inside 50. You've got to get it more central, give your forwards opportunity so the defenders feeling the more of the pump. There's no point putting it on the boundary line. The defenders love that.
Thrown in, Draper in a tangle with Jackson, spills down the way of Young. Quick kick in the middle of the ground, great mark, stirred, and he's away. Takes a bounce as he runs away from Nick Martin.
Oh, look out.
It's only
Here we go.
Darcy in front, tries to put it out in front of him and Cox. The tangle of the big man, and Sean Darcy hasn't given up with yet. He fights for a third time for the loose footy. Frederick tries to put his head over the top. Kelly comes in the other direction. Tough one for Tracy, who tries to break away, and the umpire will ball it up at half forward for the Dockers. Big Sean Darcy had the high knees trying to get going there.
Contest the ruck here with Sam Draper. Towed forward by Essendon. Through traffic. Slick hands it was from Nick Martin, but wrapped up again, Sam Draper, for a ball up.
The big elephant and the giraffe having a race down the wing then, wasn't it? It was amazing.
Up they go again. Darcy puts it down only as far, though, as Sam Durham. He evades the traffic, kicks back to the wing. There was a hold there. This time it's going to be going Freo's way. It was Gresham on Walker, says the umpire. So Walker takes the free kick here for the Dockers. Comes inboard to find Neil Erasmus, who was subbed in his previous 6 games, including his only 3 games this year. So he's not subbed today, Neil Erasmus. He kicks wide, attacking the side of the wing. It just bounces out of bounds for a throw-in. A directionless kick. Dockers keep a 7-point lead. 7-1 plays 5-6. 15 gone second term. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, well, it took it out of the big Clydesdale, who was in a Melbourne Cup race. Sean Darcy's come to the bench. It's all okay, but he was breathing pretty hard.
Thank you, Koza. Thrown in. Fremantle leading by 7 points. Jackson and Draper spills down to O'Meara. Half pass away. Sammy Durham lays the tackle, and there's nowhere for Neil Erasmus to go. Don't have too many Neils in the footy world these days. This is Jackson trying to take it out of the ruck and losing his balance. Draper's trying to drive him into the turf. Swakowski can't take it cleanly, and Langford offers support with Gresham and Shield to lock the ball up at half forward for the Dockers.
Who was the last?
Ooh, we've had a few between Danaher and this one, I reckon.
I remember playing against any. Do you remember playing against a Neil?
Lockie.
Not that
Draper loses it down here. Caldwell for the Bombers gets the hand pass back here. They can rebound off half back. Shield the hand pass back to Roberts, the debutant. He hurries his kick down the line. Stringer uncontested, grabbing the logo. They start to just surge forward of red and black jumpers. As Stringer kicks towards centre half forward, joining back there and taking the mark with a hand pass off towards Langford. He's 55 from goal, wide of the pocket, a little too wide, and Brennan Cox chops it off here on the last line of defence. Dockers by 7 points, 16 gone second term.
Well, that's the last piece of the puzzle, I think, for us at the moment, is to get their inside 50 connection just working a little bit better. They're getting to that area of 50 to 70 out, but then just can't hit that next target going in.
Cox back to Ryan in the goal square, back to Cox in the left back pocket. They're sharing kicks at the moment. As Cox kicks up towards Swakowski, it was a good kick. As Stringer was trying to guard 2 players, Bamfield was on his own. So Swakowski plays on and gives the hand pass to Bamfield up the wing, looking for Tracy. Ben Mackay trying to juggle the mark, didn't hang on. Shield tries to knock it forward to Roberts, had his legs taken out. Roberts' hand pass inboard to the congestion. And Jackson with a hand pass away. Erasmus back to Bamfield. And Tracy takes it out. He didn't like that from Dylan Shield. Charges in the big kahuna with a shoulder bump to the back. All okay as the umpire says throw it in.
I reckon, Shealy's feeling it too.
Yeah, he was winded from the last hit, I reckon.
He'll know he played tomorrow.
But they're competing really hard at the moment. Bombers still working really hard around the clearances and now tackling.
Fremantle have all 3 goals in this second term so far. Caldwell underground by O'Meara. Loose footy comes to Parrish though. High kick towards half forward. Towering grab attempted down there by Clark. It's going to be advantage paid here for Freo. Ryan goes back inboard for Swakowski. Shrugs the Durham tackle. Shares it with O'Meara. Off half back they go again through Chapman. He points his kick wide of the Shane Warne stand wing. It'll bounce out in front and in fact it'll just clean bowl Jai Amos in the end. He did miss that one. And it goes out of bounds for a throw-in, true centre wing out of side.
Well, you look at some of the numbers. Essendon leading in 20 to 10 clearances and tackling numbers 35 to 18. Inside 50s 26 to 14. But just the marks inside 50 for Essendon are just a 3 so far to Fremantle's 5. So they're just not getting that reward for effort inside their 50 from all the hard work they're doing.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Draker takes it out of the ruck, gets the hand pass to Sammy Durham, hand pass back to Merritt, kicks out of the wing. Parrish lost his footing, but he's first back onto it against O'Meara. Hand pass out in front of Merritt, work back after it. Clark tries to corral him, knocks it on to Caldwell. They've made something of nothing here at left half forward. The Bombers inside 50, Langford out, Cox spoils it away, keeps it in play momentarily, and then eventually taps it over the boundary line. Left forward pocket for the Bombers. Fremantle with 3 straight in this second quarter to Essendon's 2 behinds. 18 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
Just keep thinking of Seinfeld. I guess I showed Neil, who's Neil.
0437 774 774. This is very Ben Cameron areas, but give us our last Neil in footy.
Stringer busts the tackle here. The loose footy falls. The Bombers can kick the goal. That was sharp work from Gresham. Came back in, and in the space of a couple of seconds, through the ball on his boot, and he kicks his second goal of the afternoon. So Essendon pull that margin back to 1 point. It's Freo still leading, 7-1-43. Essendon 6-6-42. 19 goals second term. ABC Sport, your experts, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Now, I was looking to see who was on Gresham, but I thought they might have been the culprit, but it was actually Jager O'Meara who didn't put a body on Jake Stringer and allowed him access to the front of that stoppage, and the way through, he kept the ball in front, which then meant that Chapman, who was on Gresham, had to then try and put pressure on. So that was where that little breakdown was. O'Meara just got to step in front of Jake Stringer. He's a big bull who wants to get on the move. But well done, Jake Stringer, that ability to part the seas, essentially, and allow Gresham to get on the end of it, like all good small forwards do.
Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. Jake Gresham up to 17 goals for the season. The Bombers first in the second quarter comes at the 18-minute mark. Back in the middle of the ground. Brayshaw gets the clearance of the Dockers. Links up with Darcy. Hand pass to Sarong. Kicks to half forward. Another great pass. And leading out, Jai Amos takes the mark. He's 55 metres out from home, though, as Laverty came crashing into him. What does he do here? As there's some blocking going on in the forward 50, and I think it's Frederick who's given away the free kick. Trying to clear a path for Emmett. And is it going to come back to Redmond? No, it should be downfield. And unfortunately, Jai Amos has to give the ball to Laverty.
Can you see that off the ball? Was it Clichy? Yep. Must have been Frederick, I think it was.
Laverty's run down from behind. Didn't hear the footsteps. It was a great chase and tackle by Emmett.
Oh, no. Overridden. Scored a
dumping tackle. So, Emmett was all over him, but it was an overzealous tackle, according to the umpire. So Essendon will keep the footy here at half-back. Emmett and Tracy having a chat to the umpire.
Yeah.
I'll go again here. Redmond comes wide to Parrish at right half-back.
Is there a more relieved man on the field for a dangerous tackle than Jaden Laverty? After one umpire paid holding the ball in the forward 50, the other umpire a dangerous tackle, and it was just the last action which in the end penalised Tommy Emmett. The kick up towards Caddy, he's caught behind, and a good mark by Draper. The rising star nominee from last week for the Fremantle Dockers. Hand pass to Bamfield. Kicks up to Sturt at left half forward. Looks inside 50. Amos leads to the pocket. He draws his opponent, Parrish. Hand pass to Sarong in game 100. Across the face of goal. Tracy can't hang on. Good support from Redmond, providing Kelly the support. And Dersman kicks up towards half-back. Getting a cruel bounce was Menzies, although charging into McGrath. In fact, it was Draper, was Wagner. It spills out the Dockers' way. Cox tries to take it. Merritt tackled him when not in possession. And Wagner got a hand pass away, but they don't want the advantage, the Dockers. They'll get a free kick here between wing and half forward on the Shane Warne stand side. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, the doctor was attending to Laverty, but has now been waved away. Bigger issue is Sam Durham. You can see him hobbling at centre half forward, so the medicals have been out to him for the Bombers.
Thanks, Koza. Freo by a point here. This entry for Freo just drops in McGrath's lap, and he takes the mark in the left back pocket. 22 gone second quarter. ABC Sport right across the country and beyond. Draper wins it down here. The aerial contest down to Merritt. They can get out and go here on the outer side. Running onto it down there. Here's that man Menzies. Has room to bounce at half forward. Pops it inside 50. No, it's just ricocheted back by Brandon Walker. He spotted that kick, and now the Dockers go on the overlap. It's with Sharp. Up that boundary line, southern side of the MCG. Couple of bounces, now a kick. Back to half forward now for Freo, but it's Redmond who intercepts. So it's just end-to-end stuff. So-called aerial ping-pong here at the MCG. Freo by a point.
The voice of Brett Sprigg alongside Matt Clinch, Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy and Ian Cohen with you for Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Andy McGrath inside the defensive 50 to Shield. And has his breath back and kicks out to Kelly at right half back for the Bombers. Fremantle 7-1-43, leading the Bombers 6-6-42. The Dockers with 3 goals to 1 so far in this second quarter, after the Bombers led by 9 points at quarter time. Darcy Parish at right half back, chips it into space, and Martin takes the mark. Earlier the Giants winners by 2 points over the Hawks. Their 5th consecutive victory, the Giants, and after beating the Demons by a narrow margin last week, they're up to 3rd on the AFL ladder. Nick Martin dodges around Sarong on the mark, kicks up towards half forward. Caddy got hands to it, but couldn't complete the mark. Brayshaw runs into a dead end as Bryant and Caddy lay the tackle, holding the ball. The Bombers taking it right half forward, and Nick Bryant to take the free kick.
One of those 4 inclusions this week, Nick Bryant. 65 from goal. Pops it high on the hot spot now for the Bombers. Draper from the back. Goes to a couple of sets of legs. Stringer coughs it up here. Turns tackler there on Emmett, who's brought to ground. Umpire says let's ball up. 35 out from Essendon's attacking goal. City end. Dockers by a point as we approach half time. Bryan wins it down, but Brayshaw first hands to it. Now a kick back into the MCG, or it is marked by Laverty. Umpire says no, it was touched and play on. Laverty goes the hand pass wide back to Redman. Turns away from the logo. Pressure was coming late from Sturt. Mark was now spilled by Kelly. He dummies the hand pass left. Now evades Frederick. Comes back to the right. And he wastes the kick. And it's marked by Sarong, defensive side of the wing member's side.
Into the middle of the ground. Risky kick. Had to wait underneath it. Was Tracy. Spoiled away from him. Now Laverty gets a hand pass away to Shield. Hand pass linking forward to Parish inside 50. All on his own. Menzies takes the mark. He had Stringer leading to the pocket. He's decided against that. Jai Menzies now might have to kick on his own boot.
Yeah, it was an aggressive kick from Sarong into the middle, and it had to be perfect, which it wasn't. Well read by Mackay. His ability to chop that off. It just opened him up, though, on the turnover. Menzies snuck forward. Not sure whether he's got this in his range. Take a good kick.
Yeah, kicked 23 goals last season, but just 2-4 this season. Has been used in different roles. From 50, it's out to the right. It won't have the distance. Draper keeps it alive. Down to the front for Gresham. Hemmed in the right forward pocket. Hand pass back to Menzies. Kick is smothered by Walker. Tries to slap it forward. Wagner can't take it cleanly. Ryan to Draper. Hand pass intercepted. Gresham. That's a throw as he fought hard for it, but unfortunately in a desperate act trying to get it clear. A free kick going the way of the Dockers. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, Laverde just going down the race now after being assessed by the medical staff. Elwyn Davey, though, still on the bike. Laverde will be assessed.
Wagner, a short kick wide to find Ryan. Back to Corregna. So him and Ryan just waxing it here inside defensive 50. The Dockers, who lead by a point. 26 gone, second term. I think Ryan's gone all the way back. Winding up here for a big kick. Up to the members' wing. Pack forms in there, Mackay. Front position. Paddled forward away here by O'Meara. Back to Brayshaw. And now a hurried kick by Banfield. Bounced out towards Redmond now for the Bombers. Comes back to Kelly. The hand pass now releases Shield. He goes across the ground towards half forward. Up there, Caddy. Strong overhead grab. Plays on quickly here. 55 from goal. Deep towards the goal square. Caddy's kick travels towards full forward. Stringer wins it down here. Menzies slips over. Needs support. Gresham fires the hand pass back. Parish is there. He can't get his boot to it. He was run down from behind. A great defensive effort from the Dockers. But it's going to come back here for Andy Brayshaw.
It's good footy from both teams there. I like the way in which Essendon tried to find the free, but Fremantle's tackling, and Brayshaw is obviously a great defensive midfielder. Just got back and won the free kick for a great tackle.
Brayshaw kicks the Dockers up towards half-back. Emmett has to try and spoil it away. And Shield is the first on for the Bombers. Kicks up to Caddy at left half forward. Still 2 kicks out from goal. Kicks towards Draper. Walker flies from behind, makes the spoil. Slapped away by Parish. Straight to his opponent, Sarong, who gets the hand pass away to Clark. Dodging and weaving at half-back. Has to jam it on the boot. It's charging out him. He gets a kick towards half forward though. Jackson has to fly against a couple. He beats Nick Cox, gets the hand pass back to O'Meara. Tackled by Jones, back to Jackson. Opens up into the middle of the ground. He left it in the end, Brayshaw. It's the mark taken by Young into the pocket. Sturt backpedaling. Great team footy from the Fremantle Dockers.
Well done, Luke Jackson.
And Luke Jackson absolutely getting the applause of Jager O'Meara and a couple of other forwards as well.
Yeah, if you're going to get to anyone there, I know Jordan Clark tucked it under his arm and went for the bounce, but he didn't really have much to go to. It was Luke Jackson who won the crucial 1v1. He's surrounded by Bombers players, and then Jager O'Meara gets over to help. There was a kick inside to Young. We know that he's going to do good things with the footy when he's got the ball just outside 50.
Sam Sturt in the left forward pocket. Kicked a goal last week in the Derby, looking to extend Fremantle's lead. He comes in and pokes it through to the punt road end. And after the Bombers had kicked the last goal of the match, Fremantle restore a 7-point advantage. 8-1-49 to the Bombers, 6-6-42. 29 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport with Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
I just like the matchup for Nick Cox to learn about playing as a key defensive player. He's obviously got a pretty big task in Luke Jackson. I thought he's competed pretty well today, but then you just get that option there where there's a genuine 1v1. Just the absolute strength of Luke Jackson just came to the fore then, and that's an area of the game where Nick Cox, I think he's just got to, in time, will keep on getting bigger and bigger and learn how to use his body, but giving him these tasks where he's going to learn a lot about his own football, I think, is really important for his development.
On the boundary, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, there's some concern with Jordan Clark. His shoulder's being attended to at the moment after tucking the ball under his arm and decamping, but he's got a bit of concern at the moment.
Had a strong first quarter. And the pacey Freo Docker is, speaking of pacey, Hayden Young a little finds that lead of Jackson. Quick centre bounce clearance from Freo, and Jackson marks as we approach half-time. This would be painful for the Bombers to give up 2 goals so quickly before the major break.
And that just shows the importance of those centre square clearances when you can't get heat on the ball, and Hayden Young can just walk out the front of a stoppage out the front door. Pretty hard to stop as a young key defender when you've got the whole space of the forward 50 at your disposal. So Luke Jackson playing in front, Hayden Young just too good with his ball use.
Luke Jackson on the approach here for his second goal of the afternoon, right on the halftime siren. He lets fly from 49 out, and there it is. The Dockers have seized control of this game, and they have a new, not quite game-high lead of 13 points. It's their biggest lead of the game, 9-1-55. Leads Essendon 6-6-42. A second goal for Luke Jackson. Also on the board for the visitors, Hayden Young and Josh Tracy, each with 2. Singles to Sam Sturt, Jai Amos and Michael Frederick. Meanwhile, for the Bombers, 2 each for Stringer and Gresham. Singles to Langford and Sam Draper. Here it's the Dockers by 13 points at half-time.
Earlier it was the Giants who prevailed by 2 points over Hawthorn. The Giants moved to third on the AFL ladder after putting the last 2 goals of the match. They came from 28 points down to kick 7 goals to 2 in the final term. Tom Green eventually kicked the winner for the Giants. Jesse Hogan with his 5 goals moves to the top of the Coleman medal, passing Charlie Curnow in the process. So 12-12-84 to the Hawks, 12-10-82. And our next stop is Docklands in Melbourne, where St Kilda take on the Brisbane Lions. There's late changes for both sides, with Eric Hipwood out and Ryan Burns as well. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy. Halftime here at the MCG. Fremantle by 13 points.
It's a bit of a dagger to the heart there.
Oh, yeah.
For Essendon in that
How well are they kicking for goal?
Last 2 minutes, yeah, they've been pretty spot on when you're kicking
5 straight in that quarter.
9 goals, 1 in the first half of football, but I think that's just been the difference is just the polish going inside 50 and the ability to finish
even around the ground.
Yeah, their hard work. And we probably thought that going in. We thought that Fremantle had the superior midfielder, but I think just overall the way in which they've changed angles, Fremantle has been really important by the way in which they've been able to score, because they've been getting a lot of lead-up marks and those inside 50s, the way in which they've just been more pure than what Essendon have been able to get. And you can't question Essendon's desire indicators. When you look at their contested possession, their clearances and tackling, their numbers are considerably more than what Fremantle are doing, and their inside 50s are a lot more. Their marks inside 50 is the one area where I think they're just not getting their bang for buck at the moment, Essendon, but Fremantle just made them pay when they've had their chance. Yeah,
look, you couldn't question, as you said, the intent and effort from Essendon. It's the polish that's letting them down. You know, what I'm impressed by, though, is the Dockers' ability to continue to try and bite off that one in the middle of the ground, because it just opens up the whole game, doesn't it? That we've seen Sarong, he's turned a couple over by foot. What's he going at? 29% at the moment by foot.
He's probably been the only one that's probably has missed him, hasn't he?
Yeah, but then you look at Hayden Young, who's had 8 kicks at 100%, Brayshaw 5 at 80, and Ryan, 9 at 89. I guess a couple of those are long kick-outs from defence, but they keep going for him, and that's their confidence that you know your coach is not going to tell you off if you do miss it. I want you to keep going for him, and some of their, even just their kicks out of the middle of the ground, they're darts, and they're backing in their forwards to be able to hang on to them, but they're impressive, but, I mean, on the flip side, if the Bombers can't tidy that up and their ability to find a target inside forward 50, what have they had inside 50s-wise? 32 to 18. So they've had their fair share, but a lot of them have been either high bombs on the head of a forward, or they've dribbled along the ground, or they've ran inside forward 50, just broken the paint and then had it smothered. We saw Menzies have it a couple of times, and that's been their ability, even just with the link-up play. They've gone to ground, which just holds up play, it allows the back just to catch up when the forward's got a break on his opponent. So those little things will be frustrating. But, look, it's a reasonably tight contest. And if Freo weren't kicking so straight, it could be even closer.
And if it wasn't for the last 2 minutes where Luke Jackson wins a really strong 1v1, they get a goal result, they get another centre clearance, and Luke Jackson's in front from bullet pass from Hayden Young, Essendon go in pretty confident about what they're doing at the moment. If I was Brad Scott, I'd be putting a few numbers on the whiteboard and circling a few indicators and saying, well, we've had 22 clearances to 13. We're 39 tackles to 20 ahead, and our inside 50s are 32 to 18. So they're doing a lot right, Essendon. They're just not getting that reward, and it's their polish going forward.
They also had that a few weeks ago too, didn't they? And they got touched up where they won the inside 50s by a plus 20 or something and still couldn't manage to win the game. But
which is a hard one, because you go in as a player, you'd see that and you'd be probably more frustrated.
Tell me why it's not going right. Well, on defence, you're just getting opened up because of their ability to kick the footy, Fremantle.
So 10 shots for 32 inside 50s, and yet on the scoring shots, the Bombers 6-6, so 12 shots to Fremantle's 9-10. So, I mean, there was that moment for Jai Menzies at half forward. Is it that connection between the midfields and the forward group, or is it just some individuals making poor decisions?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. Yeah, individuals making poor decisions. Like that one at Menzies where he's running inside forward 50, that should result in a goal. Either you kick it yourself or...
He had 30 metres of space in front of him and he somehow hit the bloke in front of him and it was a smother. So
made Walker look like the best defensive player of all time.
I think a lot of it is decision making, and there's probably there's bits and pieces with like some forward pattern stuff. Maybe your forwards, I've been watching ahead of the football when the ball looks like it's going to come down. Some of the running patterns, they're running across one another, and probably they're not organised as well as what they should be. There's some new faces down there who are still young, and there's some players who haven't played a lot of football with each other. So I think that it's a real area of their game where there's no doubt there's a lot of development that is still required, and that's why it probably is frustrating for a lot of the Essendon fans who are watching, saying we're getting a lot of our hard stuff done, but we're not quite getting the result.
Yep. They are frustrated. 0437 774 774. Simon from Largs Bay again. My goodness, it's difficult watching the Bombers. Fremantle by 13 points. Let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Good afternoon, Tim Wharton with ABC News. The Race Discrimination Commissioner has welcomed the Northern Territory Police Commissioner's apology for racism towards Indigenous people at the Garma Festival. Political reporter Dana Morse reports from Garma.
The apology from Police Commissioner Michael Murphy to Indigenous communities in the Territory is reverberating around the Garma Festival in northeast Arnhem Land. The Prime Minister has welcomed the apology as an action of Makarrata, a Yolngu word meaning coming together after a struggle. National Race Discrimination Commissioner Giri Sirivarma has also backed the decision, but says it needs to be followed with action.
I commend the Commissioner for doing so. But then the courage will be in seeing it through.
The festival will finish on Monday.
Victorian health authorities have confirmed a second death from Legionnaire's disease as investigations continue into the outbreak in Melbourne. The state's chief health officer, Dr. Claire Looker, has confirmed the man who died was in his 60s and was admitted to hospital late last month. There are currently 77 confirmed cases and 7 suspected cases. The outbreak has been linked to the Derrimut and Laverton North areas in Melbourne's west, where cooling towers at 54 sites have been tested and treated. Dr. Looker says most cases were exposed exposed between the 5th and 20th of July.
We're urging people with symptoms to seek medical advice immediately, especially if you have been in metropolitan Melbourne prior to feeling unwell. Most cases in this outbreak are people who are normally at greater risk of infection. Those aged over 40, smokers, people with chronic lung disease, people with a weakened immune system, and those with underlying health conditions.
Local, state and federal members on both sides of politics have come together in regional Victoria to protest against a waste-to-energy facility. The incinerator will be built in the suburb of Lara, an hour southwest of Melbourne, and run by Prospect Hill International. It would burn up to 400,000 tonnes of rubbish a year to generate power. Federal Liberal member for Corangamite, Sarah Henderson, says the Victorian government isn't listening to the community because the facility is in a safe Labor seat.
It is a shocking indictment on this state government that this is proceeding in the heart of your community, 350 metres away from the closest house. Ladies and gentlemen, that is an absolute disgrace.
There are fears of worsening unrest on the streets of Britain after more violence overnight. Larry Buttrose has more.
Police were injured and there was damage to property following another night of violent disorder. It swept across several British cities and there are concerns more could follow suit. It's already the most widespread rioting to hit Britain in nearly a decade and a half. It follows the stabbing murder of 3 young girls at a children's dance class in Southport in northwest England nearly a week ago. Anti-immigration protests erupted in towns and cities after false information spread rapidly on social media that the suspect was a radical Muslim migrant.
The US National Hurricane Center says Tropical Storm Debbie is expected to develop into a hurricane before hitting Florida's northern Gulf Coast shoreline tomorrow. At last report, it was about 160 kilometres southwest of Key West. Forecasters say it's now clear Debbie will become a hurricane before making landfall. Australia's Olympic team will have more chances to boost its medal tally heading into the 9th day of the Games in Paris. Fraser Fyfe has more.
Australia will be looking for more success in the pool with Shayna Jack and Meg Harris racing in the women's 50-metre final, while both the men's and women's relay teams will compete in the 4x100-metre medley final. There will also be action in athletics with Nicola Ollislagers and Eleanor Patterson in the women's high jump final, as well as Abby Caldwell and Claudia Hollingsworth looking to book their place in the women's 800-metre final. Meanwhile, Australia's women's cycling team will take part in the 158-kilometre road race. Australia sits fourth on the Olympic medal table with 12 gold, 8 silver and 7 bronze.
Football Australia has started search for a new coach for the Matildas after the team crashed out of the Paris Olympics in the group stage. Tony Gustafsson has moved on after 4 years in charge. FA is looking for a new coach to guide the team through the next cycle of major tournaments, including the next Asian Cup, World Cup and LA Olympics. CEO James Johnson says they'll take the necessary time to consider Australian and overseas coaches.
We're going to look under every single rock and ultimately we're going to look for a coach that can, yes, on one hand, hopefully win us the Women's Asian Cup and also compete in 27 and 28, but also a coach that can bring the next generation of young players through.
You're up to date with the latest in ABC News. I'm Tim Wharton.
Get a unique perspective on the world around you through ABC iView, like with Australian Story.
Notable Australians, amazing lives.
I got kissed on the arse by that rainbow, no question.
7:30.
What were you most afraid of? Never see family again?
Four Corners.
I think I'm done, guys.
You're walking out, really?
Nemesis.
They destroyed each other's governments. Politics is personal.
And Landline.
Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
Always free, always informative. On ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Banfield at left half forward on the members' side. Good kick into the middle of the ground. Finds Swakowski. Didn't have to move. A beautiful pass with that 50 as he was held up by Caldwell. He looks with a bullet pass inside 50 and leading up Josh Tracy to put Freo back in front from 35 metres out, directly in front. Josh Tracy with his second.
Josh Tracy does trap the footy, works it back here towards O'Meara. He kicks straight into Ben Mackay on the logo members' side. Recovered here by Chapman. The Dockers go inside forward 50. 2-on-2. Back with a flight. Frederick! Michael Frederick on the approach. He steers it through. Stringer busts the tackle here. The loose footy falls. The Bombers can kick the goal. That was sharp work from Gresham. came back in, and in the space of a couple of seconds, threw the ball in his boot, and he kicks his second goal of the afternoon. Hayden Young finds that lead of Jackson. Quick centre bounce clearance from Freo, and Jackson marks as we approach half-time. Luke Jackson on the approach here for his second goal of the afternoon, right on the half-time siren. He lets fly from 49 out, and there it is. The Dockers have seized control of this game.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at the MCG. Fremantle lead Essendon by 13 points, 9-1-55 to the Bombers, 6-6-42. Macklich and Brett Sprigg calling the action. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy are your experts, with Ian Cohen down on the boundary for ABC Sport. Earlier, the Giants 2-point winners over the Hawks, having come back from 10 points down, 12-12-84 to Hawthorn, 12-10-82. So a fifth consecutive win for the Giants, having won in narrow fashion last week against the Demons. They kicked 7-2 in the final term after Hawthorn led by 28 points at three-quarter time. Sets up a mouth-watering affair at the MCG next Sunday as the Hawks take on the Blues. Our final stop for round 21 will be Docklands in Melbourne. The match is just getting underway between St Kilda and the Brisbane Lions. So there was a couple of late changes there with Eric Hipwood out and Ryan Burns, but there is a call available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button if you want to jump there quickly, but we will be joining them after our match. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. To Preston. In full effect.
To Preston.
The Preston. I had to look at it twice. Need to start dropping, some bombs inside our forward 50s heads. There's only one team outside the current 8 who can win the premiership. That's Collingwood, if they can get there. And Stan in Victoria says, Pies player Hoskin Elliott, good to hear from him today. He featured on AFL Sunday on ABC Sport. You can catch up on the ABC Listen app as you can with so much of the Olympics coverage. Of course, we are the official broadcast partner for Regional Australia. So for those listeners that are fortunate enough to get that, you can tune in after the footy tonight. And Roy and HG are back for everyone. People, medals and cheese on the ABC Listen app and on local radio from 11 a.m. There was one moment I just wanted to ask you about, the tackle of Tommy Emmett on Jaden Laverty. Dumping tackle. Will that be looked at, do you think,
definitely.
In the end, it became a bit of a comedy of errors from both parties, but the dumping motion will be what the match review officer will have a look at.
Yeah, no doubt. As soon as any dumping tackle or the free against for that is called, then I think it comes into the scope of whether they'll be suspended or not. But I had a look at it, and Emmett, unfortunately, as he's coming in to pin the arms, his foot slides out from under him, which then forces Laverde to go over the top as well, and therefore, he's then carried forward with the momentum. I mean, this is just going to happen in our game. I don't know what else he should do, and I don't know how to fix it either. So
it's a hard one because you're sort of taught as a young kid that when you tackle, you try and drop weight, so you try and bring him to the ground.
Yep.
So you've almost got to retrain the mind to not take to ground, to tackle and stand up in it.
And you usually, what happens there in that case, when you're coming up behind someone, is you often see them land in the back. So what he's tried to do is roll, which is correct, is what you get taught. But then because he's taken his leg out from under him as well, all his momentum's gone forward. And that's why he's hit his head. Yes, he's pinned his arms. He has to pin his arms, otherwise he gets rid of the footy. So I honestly have no answer to it, and unless we just eradicate tackling altogether, which would be a complete farce of our game, I haven't got an answer.
It's been bemoaned by many a fan and pundit over the course of certainly the past few weeks and months, our interpretation of dangerous tackles and the sanctions forthcoming beyond that. Just a long way to go yet, obviously, this season. Well, 3 weeks, but there's all manner of things that can still happen. If the live ladder stays the way it is now, there will not be a final in Melbourne in week 1.
2 weeks off in a row.
So you've got... The top 3 is Swans, Brisbane, Freo as it currently stands. If they get the job done here, Port Adelaide. So the top, is that right? Yeah. So top 4 would be entirely non-Victorian teams.
Yep.
And then you'll have, that's not right. The Giants, I reckon mine's moving too far ahead. But the point remains, the Giants would have...
The Giants would be where Footscray are at the moment.
Yep. So Sydney, Brisbane, Fremantle, and Port Adelaide. So with Brisbane having got off, they've jumped up, and Fremantle leading, they've jumped to 3rd. So the Giants were 3rd a few moments ago. They'd slide down to 5th if Brisbane win probably convincingly although they are 2 points clear of the Giants, and then Geelong in 6, Footscray, the Western Bulldogs in 7.
Sorry, so Geelong
Carlton in 8.
that would be the Cats being 6th would
So
be
it
a
could be
final in Victoria.
one final in Victoria in the first week. Oh, well, that's a bit sombre to leave us with Spriggy as you make.
No, I'm just. I don't think it'll stay that way. Put it that way. And the Swans look like the least convincing leader
I think
we've ever seen.
I think the only thing certain in all of that, Spriggy, is that the ladder will certainly change from now.
Yes.
From what we're seeing from game to game and week to week at this point in time. You just don't know what's going to happen this year.
Especially after Sydney all of a sudden have blown their 3-game lead with a big loss last night to Port Adelaide. In the NRL, round 21 today, the Penrith Panthers had a win over the Newcastle Knights, 22 points to 14 in the match taking place at the moment. The Canterbury Bulldogs and the Canberra Raiders locked at 6 apiece. Coverage available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Sport button, on the ABC Sport button. Spriggy's up and about. St George beat Melbourne Storm last night.
What?
Yep, the Storm got beaten.
First time in 25 years they've lost to the Dragons here in Melbourne.
Yeah, right. They're still on top of the ladder, though, the Storm.
Yeah, it's two teams. Melbourne, Penrith. They can win it. Beyond that, forget it.
Yeah, right.
Dockers by 13 points here. Second half not too far away. Have we had any kneels? We're talking about the lack of kneels in the AFL these days, with Neil Erasmus making his return today. 0437 774 774.
If the Dockers win, I'd love Koza to go to Neil, if he can, just to find out where the name come from and a little bit more.
They're South African, aren't they?
Are they?
I think they're South African family. I could be wrong. I'm thinking probably Murray Erasmus, the umpire. Anyway, I'm sure it's all part of it.
It's a few questions that goes in there already.
That's the opening question. You're named after Murray Erasmus.
Yeah. Spriggy really knows his players. It's great, mate. Well, I love what you've brought here to our Sunday afternoon slot, but you're actually just throwing absolute bananas at us. You got no idea.
Just hoping for something to stick.
Thankfully, the players have made their way back out and they're heading into position. Mike on the SMS, 0437 774 774. Nat Fyfe missing, of course. He is a superstar. Greg from Bendigo says when McDonald, Tip and Woody was playing, the Bombers' forward line seemed a lot more dangerous with his pressure and tackling. Why can't Alwyn Davey, the sub, come in and do the same thing? And Fran in Melbourne saying, enjoying the call. Love Jesse Hogan. Where is he in the Coleman medal? After his 5 today, he moves 1 clear of Charlie Curnow with 3 rounds to play in the race for the Coleman medal. The Dockers by 13 points into the second half with Brett Sprigg.
Rucks go at it again. Brian competes with Darcy. It goes through Merritt's legs and it's extracted there by Sarong. His hand pass goes out wide on the bounce. Worked away by Switkowski and now Brayshaw looping it wide back to Young off half forward. Sets a task there for O'Meara. And he can work it away to Switkowski. Keeps it alive somehow. Evades the Parish tackle. Sarong can look to get goal side. Shrugs 1 tackle. He'll snap from 40. Off to the goal square now. Drops down there in defence for Essendon. Laverty goes in hard and he's wrapped up down there by Amos. Will ball up. Barely 10 metres out from Freo's attacking goal at the city end of the MCG. Looking to add to their 13-point lead.
Thrown up, Darcy and Bryan. Darcy taps it down towards Jackson's advantage. He lumbers after it. Redmond in the end cuts in front and picks it up first. Hand pass to Nick Martin. Switches away from the Switkowski tackle to Parrish and back to Caldwell. Left half back. The hand pass to Merritt for the Bombers. The hand pass out of defence to Durham. Back to Merritt at left half back. He's able to just get away from Sarong, but got a shove in the back as he kicked up the wing. A downfield free kick. No, it'll come back. Zach Merritt now realises the Bombers captain will have the kick, having started to push forward. And a free kick on the members' side between wing and half forward. You're a local sand groper by heart, Spriggy. Justin Lormier said Caleb Sarong's first 100 games is the best 100 games he's seen by a Fremantle player. Think of sort of Matthew Pavlich and Nat Fyfe and some of the legends they've had along the way.
Reece Palmer.
They're probably the only couple that come to mind. Yeah, shout out to Palmer, who's an old schoolmate of mine. As
Rising Star, yeah.
And Langford takes the mark here, just 4 to the wing.
The chicken Palmer.
I'm a little worried we could run off the rails this afternoon.
I'll keep us on the straight and narrow. Don't worry about that. Langford, who's 150th, drives it long inside, attacking 50 here for the Bombers. Sam Draper, strong contested grab, outbodied Cox. And he takes the mark 40 out on a 45-degree angle.
It was. We haven't seen a lot of that from Draper, I don't think. But it was really good craft, wasn't it, in that ability to clunk that one. Slow build-up, so you'd expect that someone could have come off and come over the top of that contest, but just too strong for Cox there. Good body just before it. Had a shot already from here, so we keen to see how this one spins.
Already with 1 goal this afternoon, Sam Draper. Across the 50 to kick, it's on its way, fades to the right-hand side, a minor score. That's the first score of the second half. Essendon 6-7-43, trailing Fremantle 9-1-55. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yes, I've got a few questions for young Neil if we do actually get in there. Of course, when Palmer kicked short, it was always Palmer chips. No changes here in terms of the sub, so Elwyn Davies still sitting there. Jaden Laverde has passed that head injury assessment, and James Aish still on the sidelines as well.
Back he goes. Ryan kicks back in for the Dockers. Up towards Sean Darcy at half-back. Can't take the mark. Sarong working hard. Hand pass to Young, to Walker. Fends off Gresham. Hand pass to Sturt. Put him under pressure. They have numbers at half-back though. Draper, the Rising Star nominee, gets a hand pass out in front of Walker and they're away. Looks up towards half-forward and long lead is Amos. Spoiled away by Laverde. Great battle between the two and Laverde wins on this occasion. Hand pass to Parrish, to McGrath across half-back. Now the run of Redmond. Where's he going? I'm not sure he knows. Almost brought down by Sturt. He was. Tried to bounce it. As Sam Sturt tried to desperately hang on and wins the free kick.
Comes it long inside, forward 50 here for the Dockers. Mackay, block the lead there of Jackson at the drop. Cox lays the tackle down there on Tracy and will ball it up at left full forward for the Dockers.
Did Jackson just jump into Laverde there, or did he actually try and block him? Because he went down, or both of them went down, didn't they? I thought he was going to have a big hang for a minute.
Ball in the air, tapped away by Brian. McGrath onto it now, fires the hand pass out. Gresham collects off half-back, turned over again. Young there for the Dockers, flying shot from 40. It's floating toward the line. It's just off target to the right-hand side. Already a couple of goals for him, Hayden Young, both in the opening quarter of the game. And Freo get it back to a 13-point break their way. 9-2, plays 6-7, 5 third term, ABC Sport.
Another nominee for best 100 games for the Dockers, Clive Waterman. I'm disappointed.
Waterhouse, yeah.
You didn't mention that one. Big Clive. Used to live in South Australia for a little while.
That person spelled his name wrong. He got his whole name wrong. So obviously he did make an impression on that correspondent.
That's right. It's Darcy Parrish in the back pocket for the Bombers. Kicks up to Redmond. A beautifully weighted kick that finds him in front of Sam Swikowski. Back with a flight. Turns and comes inboard to Durham. Hand pass to Nick Martin. So agile around the middle of the ground as he just turns his body and kicks up to Merritt at half forward. Thinks about the hand pass back, but he's corralled with Young on the mark. Turns and comes inboard, and leading up is Brian. Takes the mark, wants to try and put it in the pocket. Stringer comes out on the lead. Walker in front, needs support. Frederick's there. Hand pass to O'Meara. Hand pass back to Ryan. Langford's off his chase. Hand pass to Young, and Langford got him. Great chase, never gave up on it. He plays on in game 150, swings onto the right, kicks long looking for Draper. Can he get it to him? Through the hands of Merritt. A hand pass from Cox. Chapman breaks the tackle. Hand pass to Saronga, just bangs it out of defence.
Spirals toward the members' wing of the MCG. At the back, Redmond leaves it there for his teammate Laverde. He can turn Switkowski inside out. He coughs up the hand pass though. Switkowski gets the footy back and he's brought to ground immediately by Jaden Laverde. Will ball up on the members' wing right in front of our commentary box here at the MCG, which shows the Dockers 9-2. 56, Essendon 6-7, 43. The Lions had the first couple of goals against the Saints at Docklands, leading there by 11 points as it just rumbles toward the logo. Will ball up again.
What was Paul Hazelby's first 100 like?
Oh, yeah, that's a good shout. He was a rising star.
Yep.
Was he? Yeah.
Won the most ever Glendettings too, I think, hasn't he? In the Derby.
That might have changed. I'm trying to...
Spriggy's going to the phone. No. I'll call the footy. O'Meara, hand pass to Brayshaw. Back to O'Meara. Jordan Clark on the wing members' side. Spots Switkowski free. He marks between wing and half forward. Amos is the deepest target. Jackson and Tracy also in the forward 50. Kicks to Andy Brayshaw, who keeps running and marks it right half forward. Possession number 18 coming up, leading Docker on the field. Beautiful kick to Darcy, who had the size mismatch on Dylan Shield. Just pushed him right in the middle of the chest. And now the tough part. He marks hard against the boundary, about 40 metres out from goal.
Yeah, it was a smart kick. I think every other Fremantle player realised that there was a mismatch and just pulled away. And when you've got Big Darcy there against Dylan Shield, now it's just a matter of finishing from the junction on the pocket.
Let's see his goal kicking routine. Comes in, 5 or 6 steps, opens up the angle, and he didn't quite flush it as much as I thought he would. It drags to the right-hand side, a minor score. Freo by 14 points. 7 minutes gone, third quarter on ABC Sport.
It's a good shout, Paul Hazelby. Yeah. Meanwhile, Essendon moved the footy here. Redmond in the left-back pocket. Comes back to find Nick Cox, recent 50-gamer himself. On the half volley, awkward pick up down there for Nick Martin. That's wasted here. Pressure from Brayshaw. Down there on Shield, works the hand pass away. Hot footy down at the flank for Essendon. They've got numbers off half-back. Caldwell points his kick towards Menzies. Worried there by Walker. Walker wraps up Caldwell again. Footy comes back now for the Bombers, and Menzies is shoved off the kick. Goes out of bounds on the full. So a Fremantle ball on the wing members' side. They lead by 14 points. That is an equal game-high lead either way. 9-3 plays 6-7. The ball's with Sam Switkowski.
He turns boundary side, can chip it to Wagner. He marks in front of the Essendon bench where Nate Caddy is trying to get back on. Wagner kicks up towards half forward. Darcy's there, Jackson as well. Spoiled away by Nick Cox. Spills out towards Shield and Brayshaw. Brayshaw's determined, spins out of traffic. Was he? No, throw.
Okay.
So the Bombers want to take the advantage. Caldwell through the middle of the crowd. Hand pass to Durham. He has to chip it out laterally because they don't have a lot further of the ball. Out wide to Jones, who did well just to jungle the mark against Draper. And Harry Jones turns and comes inboard in his new role on the wing. Mark taken by Andy McGrath. Of course, a former number 1 draft pick as well. That's down low. Made a little bit of work to be done for Roberts. He gets the hand pass back to McGrath. Almost tackled and brought down by Sharp. Turns it over. Young for the Dockers in the middle of the ground. Hand pass to Brayshaw. Gets the hand pass away to Neil Erasmus. He chips it out to Sharp, who's kept running on the outer wing. He looks inside 50. Jai Amos on the lead. Marks on his chest. In the left forward pocket, Laverty in tow. He's hard against the boundary, but 45 metres out from goal.
Yeah, it's been so scratchy, haven't they? The Bombers with ball in hand.
Eddie McGrath, 2 in a row. Bad kicks, unfortunately. Trying to make the play, which you can understand, Murph, but when you're missing targets only 15, 20 metres away, it's very hard to defend back the other way.
I was going to ask you whether he should look to be used in the midfield, but after those 2 disposals, maybe not. There's Jai Amos in the left forward pocket. Has one already this afternoon. This will take his best. He fires on goal, and his best might be what he's giving. Finger outstretched as it sails straight over the goal umpire's head. And Fremantle strike first in this third quarter to extend their lead to 20 points. And one from the top shelf for Jai Amos, his 31st goal of the season. Fremantle 10-3-63 to the Bombers 6-7-43. 10 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Well, he's got one of the better nicknames going around, Lids, in Nev.
Yeah, I love it.
And kicked as such then. But, yeah, when you're trying to just hit targets and you can't even do it over 15 or 20 metres, your entire team's just out of position. So you're in offensive play and you're sprinting hard to win the football. And when you just can't hit your basic skills, and they're not really a lot of pressure either, you're just going to get counter-attacked on. And Fremantle just use the ball, like they've done for most of the day, really well. You can applaud Essendon by the way in which they've competed and contested, but just the basic skill errors are just hurting them at the moment.
The voice of Mark Murphy on ABC Sport. Restart back in the middle. Dockers with the clearance again. Young fires the hand pass back to Sarong, and now little 1-2 with Darcy. Sarong was pressured out of it this time. Shield can't grab Young. In fact, the footy does come loose in the end. Sarong regathers though. Shares it with Erasmus. He can streak away from the MCG. Goes inside 50. Leading up is Amos again, but will come back. He ran too far. He didn't bounce. Yeah, he's run too far. So we'll come back here for an Essendon free kick at centre-half back with Parrish. The Dockers lead by 20 points.
Hand pass to Nick Martin, looks up to Menzies, who marks on his chest. In front of Wagner, kicks long towards Caddy. The young pup for the Bombers flies, can't take the mark. Stringer front and centre, swings on his right, over his shoulder. You know how that ends with Jake Stringer. Puts through his third. And the Bombers with a much-needed goal, their first of the third term. And first since the 18-minute mark of the second quarter. It comes at the 11-minute mark of the third. The Dockers 10-3-63 lead the Bombers 7-7-49. The margin back to 14 points. Meanwhile, at Docklands, Brisbane with 3 of the first 4 goals of the match. 3 straight 18 to St Kilda 1-1-7. We'll take you there at the completion of this match.
You can see what happens, Murph, when you actually hit a target. Yep. Nick Martin coming off the half-back line and laces out Menzies, which they haven't been able to do all quarter, or most of the game, in fact. But it just opens up the whole field when you can find that target 50 to 70 metres out. That means that defenders can't drop off. They get good contest forward of the footy, and he wheeled and went, Jai Menzies. He didn't go back over his mark and take a long time. He got it in there quick and gave him a chance. Jake Stringer did the rest.
14-point lead, Fremantle's favour. Draper wins it down the middle here for the Bombers, but it's a clearance going Sarong's way. Long down the corridor now for the Dockers. Picked off in defence by Redmond. Pressure kick goes up in the air and works it okay for Darcy Parish, who comes in to meet it. Now lays off the hand pass. They want to rebound quickly here, the Bombers, coming beyond defensive 50 with that pass from Martin to find Caldwell. He can send it back down the line towards Stringer. A little too hot was the kick for him. Ryan got there first. It was stolen away from Wagner by Langford, and now a loose footy is gathered by Clark. He rebounds off half-back for Freo with this kick to find Banfield on the members' wing.
Freo by 14 points, third term, as he pokes a kick over the top. Erasmus kept running. Marks between wing and half-forward on the members' side. A lot of movement for the Dockers inside their forward 50. So Erasmus might have to kick as long as he can. Into the direction of Amos. He's in a tangle with Laverty. It clears to the back. Redmond runs onto it. Away from Emmett. Switches all the way to the back pocket. Jones underneath it. Chapman makes the spoil and sees it out of play in the left forward pocket for the Dockers. Freo by 14 points. Caleb Sarong with 20 disposals for the Fremantle midfield. Hayden Young with 19. Andy Brayshaw just behind that with 19. No real tag to Sarong. Meanwhile for the Bombers, Parish with 25, Caldwell with 23 and Merritt with 19.
Accurate. Fremantle 10-3, 63 their score. Back in it comes Young from the stoppage. Caldwell meets him front on and they see it out of bounds for a throw-in. 14 going third term in the Sunday twilight here at the MCG. An enthralling last few weeks of this AFL home and away season coming up. Young had one arm pinned, but a kick away though inside 50. Bounce wide down there of Tracy. Mackay at front position, shares it with Caldwell. Needs options. Martin, little 1-2. Caldwell off balance with his kick, but it'll work out okay down there for Jake Kelly at fullback for the Bombers.
Jake Kelly sends it high towards half-back. Keddy and Redmond are there, and Mason Redmond pulls in the mark. Over the top of Bailey Banfield to take an impressive mark. Slowly gets to his feet in front of him. Left half-back for the Bombers. Looks inboard on the 45. Spots up Archie Roberts on debut. Pick 54 in 2023 from Sandringham. Has good pace on display inside the defensive 50 to Laverty. He switches to right half-back and Ben Mackay marks. This is the chip and mark game for the Bombers in full flight. Works it back to Kelly and up to the Shane stand wing where Dursma takes the mark. They are no closer to goal. Now he has to kick up the wing. The lead of Harry Jones out in front of Chapman. Can he hang on? I think he did. Just inside the boundary line.
Strong hands, wasn't it?
Yep.
They needed to hang on to that. Retain possession of the footy.
Jones attacking side of the wing. Goes inside 50. Stringer is unmarked. It goes to his fingertips and bounces out of bounds for a throw-in. Not sure what his problem was there, Jake Stringer.
No, he just misread that.
Yeah, I think he thought someone was right up his backside, putting pressure on. He didn't realise how much space he had behind him.
Dockers by 14, but a stoppage inside 50 at the punt road end for the Bombers. Umpire heaves it back in. Draper taps out the back there. Erasmus there first for Freo, though. Jackson spins through trouble. Good tackle. Loose footy picked up by Gresham for Essendon. Tumbles it towards goal. It's going to bounce through for a minor score. So Essendon now 7-8-50, trailing Freo 10-3, 63, 16 going third quarter. ABC Sport for your Sunday afternoon.
Earlier the Giants winners by 2 points over the Hawks. Brisbane Lions leading by 10 points over St Kilda. As Clark comes into the pocket and Ryan takes the mark. On the SMS 0437 774 774. Simon from Lions Bay once more. Can I say how hard it is watching the Bombers? McGrath, Cox, some of the players with their kicking skills so far this afternoon, as Brennan Cox has it at right half back for the Dockers.
Yeah, it hasn't really been an exhilarating third quarter from both teams, really. It's been pretty stagnant and pretty error-riddled third quarter.
Free kick against Menzies as he kicks up the wing. Amos can't take the mark with one hand. It spills away of Sarong. Inboard the hand pass to Sikowski around the members' wing. Hand pass over the head of Sharp. It's tackled as Laverty gathers. Hand pass to Nick Martin through traffic to Merritt. That's a better pass. Up towards half forward. Menzies takes the mark on the wing.
They're streaming forward for Essendon. Menzies kick high inside 50. Stringer got the better of Ryan. Going low to his right. He'll take a set shot from 35 out in the 45-degree angle.
Great kick, Merritt, wasn't it? That again to find Menzies in that forward half. They're making fine targets there. They look a dangerous side, and then you get Jake Stringer one out versus anyone. Luke Ryan's a pretty reliable one-on-one defender. just got that early hit on him. We know how strong his base is, Jakey Stringer.
I mentioned 3 goals in his previous 4 games before today. Already has 3 goals this afternoon. Here he is for his 4th. Challenging angle, left-hand side of the field. Comes in, right footer, steers it home. That lifts the crowd here at the MCG. We're back to a 7-point game. Essendon 8-8-56. They trail Fremantle, who are 10-3-63. 18 minutes played, third term, ABC Sport. Your experts, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Yeah, well, the more they can try and get the ball Essendon in the hands of a Zach Merritt and a Nick Martin, the better off they're going to be, because they can take that extra half a second to use the ball by foot or hand, and they open up their teammates to make better decisions. So I know it's an easier one to say when you want your best players to try and get the footy, but the more they're getting the ball in their hands, they're getting results on the scoreboard. And in that case, it was Jai Menzies who actually just put the ball offline. I think he actually had some smart forward craft connection there with Jakey Stringer, who just did the old point to the hip and just exactly where he wanted it. And it wasn't requiring a lace out, it was just to put to space, and Jakey did the rest.
With no Peter Wright, he has played a central role this afternoon. Erasmus gets the clearance of the Dockers. Hand pass to Sarong, kicks up towards half forward, spills out the way of Swikowski, hits the foot to the floor from 45. It slides offline to the right. And a minor score, bursting inside 50. Fremantle by 8 points. 19 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Dockers with that 8-point lead, as Matt Clinch mentioned. Andy McGrath will kick out here for the Bombers. Chooses the members' side, out to a 2-on-2. Thumped away by the big men. Brought to ground here, and again Swikowski wrapped up this time by Parrish. Stoppage at half forward. The Dockers attacking half. Darcy down to O'Meara. Sarong gets goal side. 55 out. Pops it inside. 50. Strong lead down there. And it is marked right-hand side of the goals by Sam Sturt. He's 30 out on that angle.
Yeah, I think Big Cox just fell over at the crucial time when he was down there in the defensive 30. It was great work around the stoppage. Sharp hands from O'Meara out to Sarong, spreading away from there, but it wasn't the best kick, but he didn't have to be because Cox just was on the ground essentially.
Sam Sturt in his 10th game this year, shaping up here for his 2nd goal of the afternoon. Left foot kick on its way, superb looking set shot to again give the visitors a bit more breathing space. The Dockers 11-4-70 leads Essendon 8-8-56 as we've just hit time on third term. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it was an interesting stoppage. Both teams elected to have their 6 forwards ahead of the football, which meant there was a lot of space just around the contest, and it was just smart play from Caleb Sarong, who just didn't get sucked into the play, and that's where you sometimes get caught just ball watching, and I think that's where Essendon got caught there, where they were just watching the contest, and he just slipped the back shoulder, and Jago O'Meara just found him in a bit of space, and the rest is history.
Well, and that's where the probably experience of Jago O'Meara not to just blaze, but to hold on to it for an extra second, and then, there's one.
Yep.
Someone's out forward of the stoppage. When you trust your captain or your acting skipper today, you give it to him most times, don't you?
Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, just real quick, the substitution has been made, so James Aish is in for game 183, and it's our man Neil who is sitting down.
Oh no.
So he's not getting subbed, he's getting subbed out.
Brian, one down the tap, but the Dockers emerge with it. Sarong's hand pass to Clark, free kick Frio's way. Advantage taken as Clark looks up towards half forward. Amos on a long lead. Takes the mark in front of Laverty. Have an interesting battle this afternoon as Jai Amos is right over the top of him. And slowly getting back to his feet now. Just looks athletic, Jai Amos, as he's starting to grow in his body and realise what's possible. Kicks into the pocket. Tracy's the target and he takes the mark. No body contact from Nick Cox. And just too imposing. Once he worked his way to the front, Josh Tracy, and on a 45-degree angle, not dissimilar from the recent shot from Sam Sturt, maybe just a little tighter towards the pocket, only 25 metres out.
Yeah, it was really like a 2v1. Ben Mackay was trailing in as well. He's had the job on him for most of the day, but yeah, Nick Cox and Ben Mackay just couldn't get the job done, and Tracy was just too strong in the air.
Turns 22 today, Josh Tracy. Well, Jamison kicked a winner on his 21st. This is not a bad response as he comes in from the right forward pocket. Josh Tracy has his third. And Fremantle put on a couple of quick goals in succession to lead by 20 points once more. 3 goals to 2 in the third term the way of the Dockers. 12-4-76 to the Bombers. 8-8-56, and their impressive display in front of goal continues. 22 minutes gone, third term.
Clinchy, have you got his stats there for the year in terms of goals and behinds?
He has kicked 3 today, so up to 45-15.
Yeah, it's a beautiful set shot. It's just so compact. It just reminds me of like an old school full forward from the old days. You used to go down as a kid watching it, the country.
The country's behind the goals.
The guys are just, they don't miss. They get 5-6 shots a game and kick 5-1, 6 straight. Their ability in front of the footy with both a miss and Tracy there, they just come at the footy and great hands.
Restart back in the middle. It's a wonky bounce. The umpire will recall it.
And mate, Rod Jamieson kicked the match-winning goal against Fitzroy on the day of his 21st birthday playing for the Crows.
He tells a story about the party afterwards and all the rest of it.
Best day of his life, he said.
Wow. And he's also married and has kids.
I think I'm speaking out of tune there.
Okay. Brace short with the clearance here for the Dockers. Trapped by Switkowski, shares it with the big man Darcy, pops it inside 50, a little too deep to kick for Sturt, mopped up in defence. Martin gets it back, little 1-2. Rebounds now for the Bombers, and Durham takes the mark on the members' side of the centre square. Plays on quickly here, angles his kick deep to find that man Brian, lays it off by hand back to Shield, needs a neat entry here and he finds one. Langford leads up from the pocket and crashes to ground, 40 out, right hand side of the field.
That was good work from a D50 there, whereas Nick Martin and then Zach Merritt, Nick Martin again, so again the good ball users involved, good change of angles and then just good overlap run from the ruckman Brian. Shield just put into space for Langford, who just fell out the back of his opponent. That's the sort of ball use that they've been after for most of the day. Just been hard to come by.
Take good kick.
He was goalless last week, Cole Langford, against the Saints. He's playing his 150th game this afternoon. Already with 1 goal a Savo. Kick from just inside 50 at the punt road end. It's across the face and helped through by Brennan Cox. That's going to be a free kick for a Freo defender being obstructed. So no change to the score after all that. Freo 12-4-76. Essendon 8-8-56. 25 gone third quarter.
Meanwhile, at Docklands, it's the Brisbane Lions who lead by 15 points over St Kilda. We'll take you there at the completion of this match. Draper into the pocket, finds Walker. Hemmed in the left back pocket on the Shane Warne side. Drives it as long as he can in the direction of Darcy. Got hands to it. Couldn't complete the mark. Shield front and centre. He's tackled by Darcy and Young. Fremantle 12-4-76 to the Bombers 8-8-56. Fremantle with 3 goals to 2 so far in this third quarter. As it spills down the way of Wagner. Can't gather. Little topo from Sharp. Got it forward. In fact, defensively to Brayshaw in the end. Gets the hand pass back to Wagner. And now to Sharp. Tucks the footy under his arm. Runs around the Shane Warne stand wing. Hand pass to Young. Back to Sharp. Runs his full measure. Has to be careful. He hasn't bounced on a couple of occasions. Up towards the 50. Tracy in from the side. Spills out Emmett's way. Takes it cleanly in front of Martin and lost it immediately. Spills out towards Sam Durham. And Nick Martin lays another tackle. This time unrewarded. And the umpire will ball it up 55 metres out from the Freo goal.
Dockers by 20. Up it goes. Wagner there for Freo. Tumbles a high ball inside forward 50. Redmond goes a spoil from behind on that pack. Down towards Darcy. Aish out there with Erasmus subbed out. Aish goes back inside forward 50. Through Jackson's hands up forward. Laverty mops up in defence. Mackay just gets the kick away. He was closed down there by Tracy, but the kick finds Redmond in the right back pocket. Meanwhile, you mentioned Caleb Strong's first 100 games, so he's now had 71 games and 20 or more disposals, an AFL record. As it comes wide here, looking for Caddy, knocked back though by Brennan Cox. Ball dispute on the members' wing of the MCG. Bombers have it now. The debutant Roberts just slews his kick. It was awkward inside forward 50. Ryan out to meet the ball now for Freo. It missed Cox, and now Banfield taps it back to Brayshaw. Big fend down there on Roberts, but the tackler will be rewarded. He had prior, said the umpire. So Roberts with it for Essendon.
High fend off.
High fend off there. Thanks, Lids.
So Roberts takes the free kick, sends it inside 50, in from the side. Caddy can't take the mark. Walker crumbs it. Hand pass to the Dockers to Aish. Links up with Sharp. Corral by Gresham. Kicks back to the teeth of goal. It clears Ryan through for a behind. You can see the funny side of it given they lead by 19 points, but no real damage done. A Caleb Sarong is up to 24 disposals. He's had 13 in the third quarter. Has gone to full forward at stages in game 100.
Andy Rayshaw has it still inside defensive 50. Just taking some of the pace out of the game here, the Dockers. Leading by 19 points. Ryan tips it back to Brendan Cox. Became a dad recently, Brendan Cox. And now Brayshaw still just holding the Sharon inside defensive 50. Did see an announcement from Zach Merritt that him and his wife are expecting. They announced that during the week. Up here toward the wing, Laverty, and now Mackay just paddles it towards the salvation of the boundary line. Approaching three-quarter time here. Fremantle 12-4-76. Essendon 8-9-57 here on ABC Sport.
Jeff Kids, Lids and Murph, while you're still playing or post-career?
No, certainly did. Yep. You argued probably got the better of me.
Throw him back in. I'm going to move on. Darcy wins down the tap. Aish becomes the tackler on Sammy Durham, and the umpire will ball it up.
You're tight with Toby Green.
Yes.
I feel like Toby's one of those guys who maybe dropped off a little bit in the early days.
I thought the same thing. Yeah. And I thought the same thing with Jez, but then he started to pick his form up, and so's Toby, so they've made a mockery of that.
Brian wins down the tap for the Bombers, getting an opportunity today with no Todd Goldstein alongside Sam Draper. And Jai Caldwell's at the very bottom of the pack. Thrown up in the air. 28 minutes gone, third term. Fremantle leading by 19 points on ABC Sport. Spills out Nick Martin's way. Hand pass boundary side looking for Shield. And it trickles out of play as the siren sounds for three-quarter time. Then Shield ends up amongst the Bombers bench, but he slowly trots towards his teammates. Fremantle leading by 19 points with a quarter to play. 12-4-76 to the Bombers. 8-9-57. Fremantle in that third term booting 3 goals, 3 to the Bombers, 2-3 after leading by 13 points at half-time. The goal kickers, a string of multiple goal kickers for the Dockers. 3 to Josh Tracy, 2 to Sturt, Jackson, Amos and Young, while Frederick is the other lone goal scorer for the Dockers. Meanwhile, for the Bombers, 4 goals to Jake Stringer, 2 goals to Gresham, individuals to Draper and Langford. Fremantle lead by 19 points at three-quarter time. Earlier today, it was the Giants who prevailed by 2 points over the Hawks. Their 5th consecutive win, kicking 7 goals to 2 in the final term after trailing by 28 points. They prevailed by 2 points, 12-12-84 to Hawthorn, 12-10-82. So having won by a narrow margin against the Demons the week before, the Giants do the same thing the second week in the row. And Jesse Hogan moves to the top of the Coleman medal with 5 goals, surpassing Charlie Curnow. And at Docklands, the Brisbane Lions with another goal to start the second quarter, Cam Rayner. So they're 6 straight 36 to the Saints 1-3-9. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Roy and HG. This medal-winning duo are no strangers to the City of Lights. But, mais ami, it's not just the Olympic Games. It's the culture, the fashion, the politics, the art, the opera, plus BMX bikes and weightlifting. That's people, medals and cheese daily during the Olympics across the nation, teetering on the brink of joyful chaos on ABC Radio and on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Nick Martin looks up to Menzies, who marks on his chest. In front of Wagner. Kicks long towards Caddy. The young pup for the Bombers flies. Can't take the mark. Stringer front and centre. Swings on his right over his shoulder. You know how that ends with Jake Stringer. Puts through his third. Laverty gathers. Hand pass to Nick Martin. Through traffic to Merritt. That's a better pass. Up towards half forward. Menzies takes the mark on the wing.
They're streaming forward for Essendon. Menzies kick inside 50. Stringer! Got the better of Ryan. Challenging angle. Left-hand side of the field. Comes in. Right footer. Steers it home. Darcy down to O'Meara. Sarong gets goal side. 55 out. Pops it inside. 50. Strong lead down there. And it is marked. Right-hand side of the goals by Sam Sturt. Left foot kick on its way. Superb looking set shot.
Just looks athletic, Jai Amos, as he's starting to grow in his body and realise what's possible. Kicks into the pocket. Tracy's a target and he takes the mark. No body contact from Nick Cox. This is not a bad response as he comes in from the right forward pocket. Josh Tracy has his third.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The sounds of Sunday afternoon footy, the third quarter highlights on ABC Sport. The Fremantle Dockers lead by 19 points over Essendon, 12-4-76 to the Bombers, 8-9-57. I'm Matt Clinch alongside Brett Sprigg calling the action. Ian Cohen is down on the boundary. The thoughts of our number one draft picks, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, it was a bit of a ho-hum quarter, wasn't it? It was a fair few mistakes and a bit of back and forth between the arcs, but ultimately I think it was the class overall of what we've seen from Freo in the first half of footy, now the first three quarters, that is what's prevailing in this game. And they're, as you just pointed to, that the clearances in that quarter, Murph, 12-2, they just had their way around stoppage. And if Essendon were going to be any chance, in this game, it was going to have to be that their mids were going to have to mix it with Sarong, Young and Brayshaw. And they were the three guys at the top of the stat sheet in that quarter. Sarong 13, Young and Brayshaw both had 8, 3, 1 and 2 clearances. You look on the other side, it's Martin and Redmond and McGrath. They're all three half-backers, and so the ball spent a lot more time down in the Freo front end, so they're having to bounce and create their game from down there, which made it a lot more challenging. They still got on the scoreboard, the Bombers, but it just, it looked like it was just they made hard work of it at times, just through poor errors coming off the back line and from the wings. The inability to hit some small targets that just didn't allow them to keep the hold of the footy.
No, that's probably the only one positive for us in that third quarter was the fact they went in on 9 occasions and scored 2 goals 3. It's been probably the opposite in the first half, where there was just more just the weight of numbers of balls going inside 50 that they were scoring on the back of, and it was through clearances and the contested possessions that they were getting that, and they weren't there in that third quarter. They need to get their hands dirty again here, Essendon, and get back to what they were doing in that first half, because outside of probably the remaining 2 minutes in that second quarter where Fremantle went bang bang, there was a pretty even contest on the scoreboard wise. So they can certainly get back into this game, but they probably need to kick the first one, to be honest. If they don't kick that first one, it's going to be a pretty tough ask for Reston to kick enough goals when they've only kicked the 8 so far today, that they're going to have to probably kick 5 or 6 really to win the game from here. So
I don't think they've got what Carlton did last night in them, if I'm being completely honest.
No, they probably don't. But if they get back to the clearances and get those centre clearances and give their forwards an opportunity 6v6, you never know your luck. And if you get a goal or two pretty early, the momentum can come your way, and they get the crowd involved, it becomes a different story.
I agree with that.
The Dockers by 19 points at the final change. The final quarter is just seconds away. 8-9 to 12-4. So one more scoring shot for the Bombers, but they've been inaccurate. And Darcy wins the first hit out of the final term. Young is pinned there by Merritt. Will ball up again. The Seagulls milling about. Temperatures dropping as well as we move from Sunday afternoon into the evening. Tunneled away here for the Dockers. It comes to Young. His kick partially smothered out to the outer wing. McGrath gets there and the umpire pays the mark at least. So he does come back inside defensive 50. It's with Redmond. The sub was made for the Dockers in that third term. Neil Erasmus subbed out, so James Aish into the action. Still no movement as far as Alwyn Davey-Jones, because it's been smothered there. Mackay's kick was smothered by Josh Tracy. Wins it back, but overruns the ball in the end. Redmond back here again to Durham, and now McGrath off half back for the Bombers. Can send his kick wide to his captain Merritt.
Zach Merritt veers out onto his left-hand side, kicks up towards Langford, getting back Darcy. Langford flies over the top, spills to the front. Bryan couldn't take it. Draper taps it to his own advantage. Hand pass to Sarong, to Aish under pressure. Hand pass left a bit for Wagner to do. Knocked away from Langford by James Aish. And it goes out of play. The big final term to come. The Bombers fighting to try and keep their season alive. For the Dockers with victory here at the MCG, they would move from 5th to 3rd on the AFL ladder. And the possibility of what might still be to come with Geelong, the Giants and Port Adelaide. A tough 3 weeks to come. Thrown in, Darcy and Bryan tangle. Darcy taps it down to the front. Parrish can't break away. Locked up by Aish. It spills out to Nick Martin. Hand pass to Durham. Hand pass to Merritt. Kick is smothered by Clark. Spills out Frederick's way, trying to break away from Kelly. He does so now. Members side looks up inside 50. One-on-one Amos. And Laverty gave him a lot of rope. Eventually tried to come charging in, but if Jai Amos didn't do enough to hold on to the mark, he would have got a free kick regardless.
Yeah, he got caught out there, Clinchy. You said he gave him a lot of rope. It was that ability of Frederick to come back inside, as he looked like he was breaking out here to the wing. But because he changed direction, a miss went the other way as well, which then caught Laverty out. It was a great kick. Great smother off half-back, though, to keep the ball going back in their direction.
So is that the ability to leave space for Jai Amos as well? And just
the quick turnover is what killed him.
And that has been the part for the Bombers, hasn't it, in the last 4 or 5 weeks? The turnovers are so costly. Jai Amos with 2 next to his name, looking for a third. He's got it from 45 metres out. And the Fremantle forwards are having some sort of afternoon today. 13 goals for 82 to the Bombers, 8-9-57. So of that, Jai Amos has kicked 3 goals straight. Josh Trakey has kicked 3 goals straight. So both the tall timbers doing their part in front of goal.
No, they've certainly been getting to work. And as you said, Lids, when you've got the ability like Frederick has to take grass, but then to change angles yourself and get back through the corridor where it looks like you're going out wide, it just completely changes the whole look of your offence. And Jai missed there, just fell on the benefit of that. And it was pretty easy forward craft in the end when you just read the ability of your running half-back or your half-forward flanker who gets up and down the ground to support his defence. And as you said, great smother to start that turnover.
The voice of former Carlton captain Mark Murphy on ABC Sport. Caldwell to Parrish, the Bombers' clearance. He was pushed off the kick late and it just bounces out toward the wing. Trying to get something going here. Martin's hand pass smothered this time by Clark. He gets away. Hand pass back to Brayshaw. They're all just surging forward here in the white and purple jumpers. Now Sarong loads up from 55. Deep to the square, but Mackay got in front position down there on Tracy.
Yeah,
well he marks at full back.
Well done, Ben Mackay there. He was out of position. The kick looked good, but his strength got Tracy off balance.
It was surprising, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just really pushed hard back into Tracy. I thought Tracy just had him cold, but really strong defence.
It's no doubt what Brad Scott would be asking from him. He's former coach, of course, of the Kangaroos at the start of his career. Now to Laverty, back to Mackay, and now to the right back pocket for Jake Kelly. Looks up to the wing. Caddy can't get a run at it. Darcy makes the spoil for Freo. At the back, Clark gathers. Hand pass away to Wagner. Swings onto his right-hand side. Back inside 50. Tracy nudged underneath it. Mackay had a good grab of it. Not paid the mark. Jackson over the top. And a free kick for too high. And it's going to go the Bombers' way. And Nick Cox is going to take it.
25 points is the game-high lead Freo's way. And as Essendon come beyond defensive 50. Durham up to Parrish, who's been busy in this game. 27 disposals coming up for Darcy Parrish on his second game back from a calf injury. Caldwell, straight kick down the line to Bryan, attacking side of the wing. They need goals, Essendon, and need them fast in this final term. 5.5 minutes played. Bryan comes back inboard. Caldwell goes on the entry now. Stringer, it was too deep for him. Ryan missed it as well. Langford will snap from the pocket, pulled across the face of goal, and Caddy was beaten in the contest. It's off hands and over for a throw-in at the city end of the MCG. Left full forward for the Bombers.
Funny you say that about Parrish having 27. I haven't noticed him. It surprised me when you said he had that much of the footy.
Yeah, he's probably one of those players that certainly goes under the guard, doesn't he? And just, he accumulates possession.
Doesn't break the lines that much.
4 clearances, 6 score involvements, going at 71% kicking efficiency. Darcy Parrish, as Sarong gets the clearance, combines with his good mate Brayshaw, kicks out to Tracy, who takes the mark. Right half back on the Shane stand side. Looks at the run of Emmett, tries to put it out in front of him. Chase after that. Nick Martin will get there first. Takes it over the boundary line. So Freo lead by 25 points, but it sort of feels like it's, 7 or 8 goals, really.
Yeah, it does. They need a spark, don't they, Bombers? They need someone to lay a big tackle or a big hit, real something out of nothing goal. Sammy Draper's usually one that sort of brings a bit of spark or a bit of energy. They just need someone to do some big play to just create some energy for them going forward.
Jake Stringer's kicked 4, so he's done his bit. Almost Nate Caddy or someone has to pop up and give them something to bring them to life as O'Meara kicks inside 50. Amos in a tangle with Laverty. They both go down. Tracy gathers. Hand pass to Swakowski. Unselfishly tries to poke it at Jackson, but missed him. And Roberts racing back takes the mark. Great support for Nick Cox. He'll feed the hand pass to him, and he and Kelly almost collide.
That was almost the ball game. Essendon's kick just bounces out toward the members' wing. Brendan Cox is there for the Dockers. Caddy in pursuit. Wins the footy away. Needs some support, though, with Kelly. And Kelly can't gather it cleanly either. Brendan Cox to Aish. No, it's Menzies spinning through traffic. He's brought to ground by Aish. Umpires watching, waiting. Ball up. Members' side of the MCG.
That typifies the Dockers for me. That ability to lock that up, even though they probably should have won it back. But just that tackle of Wagner there to hold onto an arm, and then Aish to bring down Menzies.
Freo by 25 points here. Towed forward by Brayshaw to Banfield, the vice-captain Brayshaw. Tumbles up the line here. Jackson, quick hand pass back to Young. Up against the boundary. High ball towards full forward now. Tracy, second bite. He was beaten by Mackay. The Bombers can rebound here through Kelly. A hand pass off to Redmond. He has a bounce as he evades that defensive 50. Neatly up the line to find Caddy. Can they wheel and go here? Caddy. They were a few weeks ago. Plays on now. Unmarked man at centre half forward. He does find Dersma. He can play on 2 from 55. Just whacks it deep inside 50 now. Stringer in the contest with Ryan. Brings it to ground. Jake Stringer busts through one tackle. Hand pass off. And the kick will come from the pocket. The finish is there from Nick Martin. Right place, right time, but Jake Stringer, who's kicked 4 goals of his own, gives off the goal this time for Nick Martin, and Essendon would love to have more of that. The margin is 19 points Freo's way, 13-4 plays 9-9, 8.5 gone final term. ABC Sport with Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, concern down the punt road end. You can see Tracy just starting to limp off. He's had 3 or 4 medical people around him since that clash with, I think it was Mackay down back, so he's at least up and going there, but he laid on the ground for a good minute or 2 while the ball was at the other end, and he's now making his way off.
He's had some holding his knee.
Yeah, some really good 1v1s. Ben Mackay in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and that was all in the back of his spoil, and then that's where they got their game going. Then Essendon was Redmond who, rather than go out wide and take the easy option, just backed himself in and went through the corridor. That opened up for Nate Caddy, and then they just find themselves out the back. Good football there by the Bombers.
Nick Martin is one who can provide a spark. Kick 5 goals on debut. Back in the middle of the ground. Draper wins down the tap. Spills out the way of Young. Kicks out to the members' wing. Underneath it, Roberts takes the mark. Takes it in front of James Aish. Hand pass away to Shield. Drives the Bombers inside 50. Stringer, can he get a run at it? No, he can't. Draper in front. Davey with a centering kick. Who's there? Menzies races after it. Overrunning the footy, Wagner. Menzies tries to knock it out. Can't find a teammate. Brayshaw through traffic. Goes back to Ryan. Top of the defensive goal square. Chips it out to Sturt. All hands in defence as he takes the mark in the right back pocket.
So Brian subbed out for Davey. He was in the action a short time ago. Alwyn Davey. Ryan for the Dockers. Off to Chapman. And now to Aish in the long sleeves for Fremantle. 19 points is the Dockers lead. Aish can go back inside defensive 50 for Luke Ryan. A recent 150 gamer. The previous All-Australian and best and fairest a few years ago. They'll switch all the way back to the outer side though, Freo. It ends up with Sturt once more. His kick a little wasteful. Overlap here, Mackay to Parrish, and now Durham needs support. Goes the fend. He was dragged to ground by Clark. Umpire says play on. Parrish on the loose footy. Back here to Shield, and now wrapped up. Brayshaw just gets Durham. Hand pass though comes loose. It's with Merritt in the pocket now for Caddy. He can play on and miss to the right-hand side. The build-up was there for the Bombers. Not quite the finish from Nate Caddy. So it's a clean 18 points, 3 goals the margin, 82 plays 64.
10 minutes gone, final term. The desperation has sunk in for the Bombers as Ryan's clearing kick. Laverty just dropped the mark. Now Banfield over the top, and the umpire will pull it up. Just see they're trying to play with a little more urgency now, knowing that there's nothing else to play for. And Laverty's given away a free kick. A punch to the guts of Bailey Banfield. The umpire saw it. Easiest free kick of the day.
Yeah, it's just no need for that. Laverty's obviously frustrated with the drop of mark. He threw the ball back at the umpire pretty quickly. The umpire wasn't too impressed and then gave Banfield a whack. So pretty ill-disciplined stuff there from Laverty.
Fremantle by 18 points. Banfield up towards Sean Darcy. Can't take the mark. Trying to knock it on. A chance for Young. It spills out the way of Andy Brayshaw. Clean pickup. Centre and kick into the corridor. Sturt's caught behind against McGrath. Trying to juggle at Amos. Racing back Redmond for the Bombers. Hand pass out in front of Nick Martin. Left a little bit still to be done. He gathers at the top of the defensive goal square. Punt road end. Drives it up to Langford. Out number 2 on 1. But brought it down to Alwyn Davey Jr. He's tackled by Walker. And the umpire will ball it up 45 metres out from the Dockers' goal. Freo by 18 points. 12 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
This game's still well and truly alive. Draper for the Bombers wins it down here. Durham, hand pass picked off though by Young. Shares it back to Emmett. He can set it out wide. Banfield tries to soccer it now. Laverty beats him to it though. Needs support. It goes through the legs of Sturt. McGrath wins it away. They're away here. Roberts to Merritt and now Parrish. Out in open space at the MCG. There's a one-on-one down there inside 50. Stringer and Ryan. Stringer can soccer it into the pocket. Ryan gets there first though. The race on foot. He needs defensive support. In it comes there with Chapman. He wraps up Stringer. The ball's in there somewhere and the umpire will say, keep playing, keep playing. Now it's a ball up. 45 out from goal at the city end of the MCG. That's the Essendon attacking goal. They trail by 18 points, 13 gone, final term.
Good contest, but both players, I thought.
He played it well. Jake Stringer trying to win a free kick, didn't get rewarded. O'Meara for the Dockers, works it back. Sharp with a clearing kick up towards half-back. Sturt's outnumbered. They fly. Caldwell, Durham, Dursma it was in fact. They're all there. And Jai Caldwell takes the mark at right half forward. Bush is just back behind his mark. It's a congested forward 50 with everyone but a couple of players inside there. So kicks towards Langford. He's outnumbered. Dropping the mark is Chapman. Langford swings on goal and misses. To the left-hand side. I don't think he can believe he dropped the mark. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, good news for Freo supporters. Josh Tracy is back up and on the bike. And as you picked up while I was watching that, obviously Elwyn Davey on for Nick Bryan.
Hey, thank you, Koza. 17 points is Fremantle's lead. Ryan, a short chip kick on the kick out to find Clark. He plays 100th game next week, Jordan Clark. Fremantle hosting Geelong, the Saddle Arvo at Perth Stadium. It's with Josh Draper, rising star nom last week. Plays on to the members wing of the MCG. Up goes Sam Draper. Ball from behind Darcy. Loose footy there for Roberts, the debutant. Now Shield. Back here to Redmond. He can blitz away. Inside 50. Caddy is deep forward. Strong overhead grab. Marks at 20 out directly in front.
Great kick. Mason Redmond just took the grass in front of him, and Nate Caddy just in a great spot. Just had the back of his opponent. And it was just a beautiful, long, penetrating kick, which just made it an easy option for Caddy to take the ball at its highest point. It shows a bit this kid, I like him.
Recent debutant, has played in 3 wins and 3 losses to keep the game alive here. He makes the goal umpire work, but the Bombers cut the margin back to 11 points. The Dockers are 13-4-82, Essendon 10-11-71. 15 gone, final term. ABC Sport, your experts, Brett Nelidio and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, well done, Mason Redmond. That ability to get the turnover and to take that grass that you spoke about, Murph. Just allowed that ball to get right out the back. Draper was caught in no man's land. He was, do I go back to engage? Do I read the flight of the footy? But if you give Nate Caddy a run and jump at it like that, he's going to mark more often than not. And a good finish under pressure too. If they needed that goal, you know, it can be a tricky little one, only 30 out slide angle. You expected to kick it, but those sort of demons can come into your head real quick.
No doubt.
Josh Tracy back onto the field for the Dockers. Listen to this.
The crowd's getting involved.
The Bombers fans know their season is on the line. The last 2 goals in the match to get within 11 points. Bounce in the middle of the ground. Draper and Darcy spills down the way of Shield. Can't take it cleanly. Has a second go at it. Doesn't merge with it. Hand pass to Caldwell. Dodging and weaving away from Sukowski. And his legs taken out. Bombers take it as Redmond works it up to Shield. Back to Mason Redmond. Runs it full tilt to right half forward. Driving kick inside 50. Langford sets himself. Front and centre Gresham. Tries to break a tackle as he tripped. Spills out to Martin. Fires on goal. He's got it. Nick Martin with 2 final quarter goals. And the Bombers are back within single digits. Within a goal. It's as close as they've been since the second quarter. 15 minutes now, 16 minutes gone, final term. Fremantle 13-4-82, Essendon 11-11-77. The Bombers at 3 goals to 1 in the final term.
Yeah, there's a bit in that play. I love the work from Dylan Shirley. Looked like he overran the first one, but then just got back involved and hunted the footy, wins the clearance, and then gets on the end of it too by running hard forward, providing an option, rewarding his defender runner in Redmond, who worked really hard to get on the end of it. And there was Gresham who fought through a really good ground ball and gave it off to Nick Martin. He's the class they need with the ball in hand around goals, and beautiful finish.
A neat finish from Essendon's small forward brigade. Margin 5 points Freo's way. Back in the middle. 1 down here for Durham. Young wraps him up. Umpire says, give it to me.
Docklands Brisbane 8-3-51, leading St Kilda at 1-4-10.
Up in the air it goes. Waiting for it again in there, Chapman, but it's distracted by Dylan Shield. Dummies the kick, goes the hand pass in. Langford 55 out, goes inside forward 50, honours the Gresham lead. Marks 30 out and angles slightly left of centre. And this to make it, what's that now? It'll be 4 goals in the quarter, 4 goals to 1 in the last 3 of the game.
Well done, Dylan Shield. His ability inside to outside. He's a different player to a lot of the other mids that have got in there. He's got that power, that explosiveness.
Here they go for 4 in a row. Jade Gresham already has 2 this afternoon. On the approach, doesn't let them down, and returns the Bombers back to the lead. Essendon by a point here. 18 gone, final term. What a finish coming up. 34,500 in the building. Essendon's season on the line. Another great goal from Jade Gresham. They're in front.
Don't you love it when the game doesn't go as you scripted probably at 3/4 time, Murph?
That's right.
We thought that they were dead and buried here, but credit to the Bombers. They've found something here. Their ability to take the game on, but they've been cleaner with the footy, haven't they? Their ability to actually hit targets. They've used their hands a little bit more out of congestion. They've got some great penetration. That decision of Langford to lower the eyes and hit rather than just bomb away was a great one.
All of a sudden, they've kicked 3 goals in 4 minutes, the Bombers, and their season has come to life, as their fans have as well. Darcy and Draper spills down the way of Shield. They're winning all the big battles now. Hand pass to Parrish, gets it away to Caldwell, up to the 50, leading out Harry Jones. Marks on his chest. He's still 65 metres out from goal, drives it into the pocket. Langford sets himself, and he's got it! In front, Brennan Cox has a look at his fellow defenders. Where are you?
Oh, it's a great grab. Kyle Langford, it's definitely a shake off the boot. He should have hit up a short, but
I thought Menzies was the option.
Pretty fortuitous, but great contested ball. But
what I love Shield again.
3rd clearance for the quarter. Dylan Shield's just everywhere at the moment. Be involved in everything. Had 7 disposals, going at 100%.
Kyle Langford in game 150 has 1 already. Swings out on the left. They're in front, and now they have a buffer. The Bombers by 7 points. 13-11-89 to the Dockers, 13-4-82. Approaching time on in the final term. The Bombers with all the momentum. What can the Dockers respond with?
Yeah, great question. And it's over to you, midfielders, I reckon, from the Dockers. I don't think Darcy's had the influence that he needs to have. Draper's been putting it on a platter for Dylan Shield, and his ability to get inside to then reward the runners on the outside has given him great access. Caldwell with that kick to Harry Jones. I thought Menzies was the option. We both saw it at the back here.
Popped up late, didn't he?
Yeah, it did, but he committed a great mark, Langford. For a guy 192, 93, over his head, very, very strong. He's had a great year. Continues to get on the board.
4 goals in 5 minutes for the Bombers.
In the last 5 of the game to lead by 7 points. We've just hit time on final quarter. Restart back in the middle. Draper and Darcy. They burst away here through Sarong. He was legged. Umpire says holding the ball, in fact. Merritt plucks it clear. Goes inside 50 and leading up and marking. Here's that man down there in Jones. Harrison Jones has marked 40 out, left-hand side of the field.
They couldn't buy a mark inside 50, the Bombers, in the first 3 quarters. And they've got to work around the centre square clearances. And they've been lowering their eyes, and they've had 4 marks inside 50 in this last quarter. Bombers fans be asking, where was this in the first 3 quarters? But they finally started to turn it on.
Harry Jones on the approach to push it out beyond that 7-point lead. He tugs it near side. Out of bounds on the full. It remains 13-11-89 to 13-4-82. 21 goal in final term. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Well, after a fairly slumberful crowd down here, I've had to actually turn the headphones up because suddenly the Essendon crowd have come to life. They're trying to be the 19th man.
Ian Cohen on the boundary. Ryan's long kick around the Shane Warne stand side. Tracy's there, spoils it down to the front. Has to follow up himself. Hand pass picked off by Parrish. Kicks inside 50. Walker desperately racing back. Panic as he kicks out towards half-back at Sharp. Hand pass back. And Draper steps over the boundary line as Dersma applied the pressure. Insufficient intent. The Bombers are taking no backward steps. Dersma plays on. Langford can't hang on to it. and Brayshaw clears for the Dockers. Hand pass to Aish, hand pass to Clark at halfback.
He's out in a dash here, looks for options upfield. Helicopter kick just wobbles its way towards half forward, takes a left turn, and Sturt content to see it out of bounds for a throw-in at left half forward for Fremantle.
It's a fine line, isn't it? Kyle Langford just should have gobbled that one on the lead, just misread the kick.
Cricket bat ends.
Yeah, just...
They've kicked the last 5 goals of the game, Essendon. Can the Dockers respond? Sam Draper lays it down here. Young taps inside 50 for Freo. Redmond gets there first. He's brought to ground by Hayden Young. The umpire says, give it to me. 23 gone, final term. Bombers by 7 points here.
Breaking news coming through from Collingwood. Jordan De Goey's season is over, 10 to 12 weeks for that hamstring injury, so really severe. Darcy over the back. Redmond tries to hit it with speed, ran into Brayshaw. Sarong in his 100th game. Hand pass away to Emmett. Screws it around his body and misses to the left-hand side. A 6-point lead Essendon's way at the 23-minute mark of the final term. Freo haven't scored since the opening goal of the final term at the 3-minute mark.
They've both had some heart-stopping results this year, wins and losses, both of these sides. Freo had an earlier draw against Collingwood. 6 points is the margin. Essendon chip it across the defensive 50. McGrath will choose the Shane Warne stand side of the ground, that southern side of the MCG. It's marked by Kelly at left half-back for the Bombers.
Brett Sprigg and Matt Clinch calling the action. Ian Cohen, Mark Murphy and Brett Deladio with you for Sunday afternoon footy. Kelly kicks up the Shane Warne stand wing, asking Gresham to work to the front, got rid of Wagner. Hand pass out in front of Davey and Jones. Jones is tackled by Cox. Play on, says the umpire. And eventually it's trapped underneath them. And a ball up under the Shane Warne stand. 34,381 into the MCG for a Sunday afternoon where the Bombers season is on the line. The Dockers trying to fight for the top 4. Brayshaw slaps it forward. Every metre is crucial. It goes out of play and a boundary throw in.
Yeah, all of a sudden the mentality's got to change from Fremantle earlier on in the quarter, just playing that kick mark, trying to protect the lead. Now they find themselves a goal down. They've got to start getting aggressive with ball in hand, win these clearances.
Umpire tosses it back in. Played it from behind on Darcy, brings it out to the right, hurries it high towards half forward. Stringer has a couple to beat. Crashing the pack, late in there was Young. Out of the tackle there, Josh Draper. They can rebound the footy again here. Wagner involved. And now Freo with a chain of hand pass. Ends up now with Banfield. Comes down the line towards half forward. Marking in space. It was nicely positioned that time, Emmett. Comes back inboard now to find Brayshaw. He marked 60 from goal. Needs options, gets one there. Banfield kept running. Receives it 50 out. Pops it to the hot spot now. There was the option of Young. His kick was smothered. McGrath brings it away by hand to Durham. The Bombers are away.
Kicks out towards Merritt. The Bombers captain can mark his left half back, but has no one really on the Shane Warne stand side. Jones goes striding up the wing. And Merritt just pushes back behind his mark. There is under 4 minutes to go. The Bombers leading by 6 points. Game on the line. Merritt kicks around the wing. Jones, Draper in from the side, chuckles the mark. No, spilled out at the last moment as he hit the ground. Hang on, the umpire has paid it. Okay, so Sam Draper does get the footy. He's going to chip it backwards to Merritt. Still centre wing.
That wasn't the mark.
I don't know how he's paid that.
That wasn't the mark.
Is it too long to be playing this style of chip mark footy?
There's 3 minutes to go, so I dare say...
Not by their skill set we've seen so far at the game.
Merritt to Draper, he's up against 3. Darcy couldn't take the mark. Jones forward to Stringer, tackled, spills out. Here go the Dockers. Sarong at half-back, hand pass to Brayshaw.
Falls here to Walker, short kick to find Clark at centre half-back for Fremantle. Needs options upfield. Call to play on now. Tries to evade Parrish, running by Antoni hand pass for Chapman. Wrapped up down there by Cox. He's dispossessed. Essendon get the footy back though. Draper to Parrish to centre half forward. Davey beaten through the air again by Walker. And it's kept down there by Langford. Is he holding it in? The umpire says balled up. Ian Cohen to the boundary.
Bombers are down one man. Xavier Dersma is on the sidelines and being assessed by medicos at the moment. Looks like some sort of leg injury.
But they lead by 6 points. Stoppage inside 50, 27 gone final term. And again, we'll ball up 45 out from the City end goal. Essendon's attacking end.
Half-time at Docklands, Brisbane 9-3-57, St Kilda 1-4-10. Dockers trying to get out of defence. Bamfield swings one way, then the other, into the middle of the ground, juggling effort. Mackay can't hang on to it. Switkowski flies in front. Hand pass out to Sharp. Shane Warne stands side, takes the bounce. He has Jackson deep, gets to right half forward, sends it high and long. It's too wide. And Nick Cox is there, and he and Luke Jackson, it sails over the boundary line, out of bounds on the full. A Bombers free kick in the left back pocket.
Yeah, that's a big error.
Yeah.
Just got to give your forward an opportunity. I know he doesn't mean to kick it out in the bounce on the full, but just got to be better in that spot.
2 minutes of game time left. Essendon lead by 6 points. Sam Draper crashes the pack. Young brought the ground, will ball up again. Defensive side of the wing for the Bombers, who lead by just a kick. Draper wins it down. Young had the arm pinned by Caldwell. Again, they pile in from all angles. The footy comes loose for Brayshaw. Back to Clark, and now Sarong. His pocket picked. Davey is out there. He brings it to ground. Umpire says we'll ball up again.
Yeah, so just going to try and just keep it in tight, get repeat stoppages. Freo just going to try and get out into space.
Left half back Essendon, right half forward Fremantle. Switkowski off here to Sarong. Kicks on it by Merritt. Bounced all the way back here towards Walker. He's brought to ground again. The intensity is lifting for the Bombers. They lead by 6 points, 28.5 gone.
I feel like we were here last night. Spriggy, this stage of the match, here we go. Thrown up, it spills down the way of Clark. Hand pass to Sarong. Inside 50 once more. They need a mark. Hang on.
Oh, no.
High contact, Jackson. It's a Fremantle shot on goal. Mason Redmond making his case. Who gets the free kick? It's Jai Amos.
Laverty.
Yeah. It was just... They were caught sort of all arms and legs, and they were tangled. They were just tangled up.
A shot.
It's just pulled a free kick.
A shot off Brad Scott on the monitor. He has no idea. The Essendon fans are out of their chair. And Jai Amos has footy in hand in the right forward pocket. 35 metres out to draw, scores level. Amos comes in. He kicks it.
Huge.
A huge finish. Jai Amos with his fourth and scores a level with 37 seconds to play. Fremantle 14-5-89. Essendon 13-11-89. The Dockers fighting for top four. The Bombers trying to keep their season alive, and it comes down to the last 37 seconds of the match.
What do you do here, Lids? Do you charge off the half-back flank and try and get involved, or do you just...
You've got to risk it to win it, don't you? I mean, you've got to go for it.
If you're Essendon, you've got to...
But both sides.
Both sides. But does a draw mean a better result for Freo, though, in
Puts them in
terms
the
of
top
scheme
four
of
on
things?
percentage,
Yes.
but it won't help Essendon really.
No.
Because of that logjam out
So
in the top
Essendon just
eight.
got to... Fremantle helps their cause still.
Currently, Essendon 11th, Fremantle 3rd.
Jai Amos from the Mitch McGovern pocket.
Got to go for it.
Scores level.
That's Brizzy, don't bring it up.
We've just ticked past the half-hour mark at the MCG. The next score wins. Clearance through Merritt and Essendon. Fires the hand pass away. A bounce from Durham at half forward. He eyes the big sticks from 45 and brings the whole crowd with him. He misses. They are ahead, but only by one. With 24 seconds left.
Ryan quickly brings the Dockers back into play. Bangs it down the middle. It's chaos. Draper in front. He takes the mark.
Huge.
Sammy Draper, what a mark. In front of Darcy. Zach Merritt's gesturing to everyone. And this time he'll try and count the seconds down. He drives it into the pocket. Jones, Stringer in from the side. Ryan spills down to Gresham. Cox lays the tackle. Time's running out. The siren sounds. And the Bombers win a thriller by the smallest of margins. Sam Durham's point keeps the Bombers season alive.
Up to win the premiership flag. Our boys who play this grand old game are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, up. The other teams they don't fear. They'll try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly up.
Everyone takes a deep breath. The Bombers prevail by a point, 13-12-90 to Fremantle 14-5-89. The Bombers come flying home in the final term with 5-2, with their season on the line, having trailed by 25 points. Scores level with the last 30 seconds, a centre bounce clearance, and Sammy Durham keeps the Bombers in the 2024 season.
See the Bombers fly up, up to win the premiership flag. Our boys the other teams they don't fear. They all try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly on.
A week ago they were throwing their scarves over the fence. Tonight they are waving them because the Bombers season is still alive for now. A 1-point win over the Fremantle Dockers as the Bombers prevail 13-12-90 to Fremantle 14-5-89. Jai Amos with a goal at the 30-minute mark before the Bombers were able to come up with what was the match-winning behind, having had Mitch McGovern miss a match-winning shot last night. The smallest of margins for the winners. 4 goals to Jake Stringer, 3 to Gresham, 2 to Langford, 2 to Martin, individuals to Caddy and Draper. While for the Fremantle Dockers, who were so accurate throughout the match, 14 goals, 5. 4 straight to Amos, 3 straight to Tracy, 2 to Young, 2 to Jackson, 2 to Sturt, and Frederick the other goal scorer. The Bombers win by a point. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy try and sum up what we've just witnessed.
Didn't see that, Murph. Did not see that coming at three-quarter time. And you called it, Clinch, I reckon, in that quarter. It's like, I know it's close, but, well, not close-ish, but 20 points, but it felt like it was about 7 or 8 goals. And they felt like they were going just through the motions and doing enough Fremantle, weren't they? But Essendon, to their credit, they just kept coming. And their ability inside the stoppage, you've got to tip your cap to Dylan Shield, mostly, I reckon, in that last quarter.
Yeah, 3 clearances in that last.
Yeah, but he turned it the way he went.
Our regional listeners are off to the Paris Olympics. We bid you farewell from the MCG. The Bombers winners by a point.
And it wasn't just Shield, but I feel like he changed the narrative a little bit.
Did.
His ability to say, you know what, bugger this, I'm just going to start to go at the game. And he did. He went forward with the footy, but then they got on the end of it as well through Redmond going forward. He got that goal assist down to Caddy, and then he drives the one in that goes to Langford. I think Gresham got one as well. Got one on the end. So, look, that's a massive win for Essendon where they're at. Doesn't mean I'm wholly invested in what they're doing from what they've spoken about, what they're about, but great win nonetheless.
Yeah, I thought their compete, I thought was pretty strong for majority of the day. They just lacked that little bit of polish going inside 50 especially, but in that last quarter, you're right, Dylan Shield set the standard. It was like, well, the game's drifting away from us here. He thought, no, I'm going to get my hands dirty here. I want to go hard at the contest. And then they started getting some balls where there was some players actually streaming out onto some leads. They had 4 inside 50 marks in that last quarter. They couldn't buy one in the first 3 quarters. And then the crowd got involved. And momentum started to go their way. Fremantle just tightened up. They'd gone from a kick mark and just trying to protect the lead to then going, oh, hang on, we're in a contest here. We better get to work. And at that stage, the Bombers kicked probably 3 or 4 in about 4 minutes, and the game had completely changed.
Think about moments in games. 25 points was the lead for Freo, and you think next goal, that's going to put Essendon away. There was that turnover down there, wasn't there, at the punt row down, and all of a sudden the game changes from that point onwards.
Exactly right, and that's why it's so important to capitalise on the chances that you do get. But even with the current rules and the setup with the 6-6-6, momentum swings can just be absolutely massive, and it's very hard to stop once the side starts to get it. There's just a small amount of belief. Players grab, and you saw Draper was pretty big in that last quarter, especially that last moment, but his ability to get the hand on the ball and put it down, Shield's throat, and Merritt got on the end of that last clearance for Durham to kick that point. It's just some big moments. But you're right, Spriggy, you got to capitalise, and there was a chance to really put the game to bed, and they missed their opportunity for it.
They just had more contributors, I thought, in the last quarter. They said Nick Martin bobbed up, kicked a couple. Cole Langford was terrific. I thought Ben Mackay had probably 2 or 3 contests in a row where if Tracy takes one of those grabs and goes back and kicks a goal, it's probably game over. But he held his own in some genuine deep 1v1s where I thought he had him cold on a couple of occasions. But to Ben Mackay's credit, he actually fought through and pushed him out of the way and actually showed some real strength and aggressiveness in the contest. And that was the start of a few goal-scoring chains. So just across the board in that last quarter, I thought that Essendon had more contributors and more guys who took their moment.
4 goals in 5 minutes it was for the Bombers as they came surging back into the match. There was a shot from Emmett that missed. There was all sorts of desperate moments from the Bombers in defence. So the context for the season means the Fremantle Dockers drop out of the top 4. They're currently in 6th spot on the AFL ladder. And the Bombers are 2 points outside the top 8, be it with a rather poor percentage of under 100. But with matches against the Gold Coast Suns, Sydney and Brisbane to come, the Bombers season is still alive. And this crazy 2024 season, just when you think you start to rule off a team, a line through it, the Bombers found a way to win. And we've just seen this last centre clearance here from Zach Merritt, who got it to Sammy Durham. And the question is, how did he get so much space as he streamed to 50 and the shot was offline to the right?
I think that's easily explained. Because Merritt got out the front of the stoppage, the halfback goes to put pressure on Merritt. So therefore it's an easy overlap, which gives him free access. But going through the ladder, Clinchy,
you're having a guess if you're going to try and get this top 8 at this point in time. Nothing's certainly in concrete. I mean, you look at the run home for Essendon. They have Gold Coast in Melbourne here next week, so you'd think they win that, and then they've got to beat the Swans and Brisbane. So if they play finals, they're good enough. They've got to do it the hard way.
And for the Dockers, it was such a golden opportunity. We're going to hear from Jake Stringer. The Bombers winners by a point. Let's head down as they make their way in with Ian Cohen.
Well, I'll tell you what, the high fives and the handshakes are all happening down here. David Barham, the president, just walked past. Interestingly enough, of course, the dad of Jake Kelly and Craig Kelly is down here as well. It's been a big week in the news for him too, but it's all about the Bombers tonight as Zach Merritt leads them in. And what a clearance it was. We're going to hopefully talk to Jake Stringer, who found his kicking boots and put them on right. The debutant, no doubt, will be pushed into the middle as well. So Archie's sort of shaping to be able to get into the middle there as they wander on in, and they are overjoyed. The smiles are everywhere, the pats on the back, and they are forming up now. We'll be getting the song very, very shortly, and hopefully not the Gatorade shower, but I think that might come towards the debutant, who's now getting pushed into the middle. Family and friends, of course, in here plenty. The Gatorade showers have started nice and early, and they are forming up for the song. And I'm pretty happy I've got my rain jacket on. Here I go. Celebrations all round. This topsy-turvy season continues.
Thank you very much, Ian Cohen. Essendon winners by 1 point, 13-12-90 to Fremantle 14-5-89. So the Bombers snap a 3-game losing streak, having slid outside the top 8 after their loss to St Kilda last week. While the Dockers were in third spot, they slide down the AFL ladder with the other results. The Giants prevailing today by 2 points over Hawthorn. So the Giants move up to fourth. The Cats slide in the middle. They're in fifth, and Fremantle with their percentage of 116, but 2 points behind the Cats are now in sixth spot. So after such an accurate night in front of goal, how does Justin Longmuir reflect on, again, they played pretty well for 3 quarters here at the G, and unfortunately just got overwhelmed by a side who found their best when they needed it.
Yeah, that was the thing, like that we expected a bounce, didn't we, from Essendon, but it'll be that, what'd you say, 4 goals in 5 minutes from Essendon that it will be concerning, I think, for Justin Longmuir. But it's not just him either. I think it's right across the board that clubs are trying to wrestle with how do we stop momentum, because it's damn hard. And it ultimately comes back to, can you win centre bounce and get a goal back the other way? That's how you stop it. You've got to get your hands on the footy.
Let's head back down to the Bombers' rooms. Winners by a point. Here's Ian Cohen.
It's an ecstatic Jake Stringer who's in front of me now. You got the friends and family in here, the smile on the face. Talk to us about that, because Bombers look done and dusted 3/4 time. You found a way to do it.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's the most important thing is, we fought all the way to the very end, and we knew it might take till the last kick, and that's what ended up happening. So it was really good from this young group to grind that out.
What were your thoughts when you saw that Merritt clearance and suddenly it's going forward with, 25 seconds to go?
Yeah, I thought I was on for a little bit, and then he handballed to Durham, and then I was like, I thought there was only 10 seconds left, so I was just like, kick it. And then, I thought it was going through. But, great little set play there, and good to get the win.
You helped set the agenda early. It'd been a struggle for the last couple of weeks for you to split the big sticks, but this time you did it 4 times. Congratulations, 4 goals. Do you feel you used today to really help re-establish yourself and head into the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it was just probably more. I was more doing centre bounce work the last few weeks, and Scotty asked me and Jade Gresham to spend more time forward and really pride ourselves on pressure and the ground ball, and I thought we both did that very well tonight.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are upstairs.
Jakey, it's Lids here, mate. I just wondering what the message might have been, or the conversation you guys had at half time. You weren't playing your best footy, probably a few mistakes and whatever else, but was Scotty pretty calm, or was he trying to give you boys a bit more of a rev? Give us an insight.
No, he was pretty calm. It was just more around, we were just struggling with, we were getting our hands on the ball, but from ground ball, and even we just weren't executing, the first gives, and we spoke to a few of the boys at half time. I thought Troy Menzies in that third quarter had 3 or 4 goal assists from just marking and rolling and getting it in and giving us a chance, and I think that's all we lacked in that second quarter. I thought we played not too bad, but we were missing that little icing on the cake.
And the game from all your midfielders, Parrish, Caldwell, Merritt, I thought Dylan Shield was big in that last quarter, his ability to get clearance but get it to the outside, mate. It makes your job a hell of a lot easier when they're getting their hands on the footy.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think they got challenged. It was a bit of an arm wrestle. Freo had their moments, and then, the way the boys in the middle really lifted us in that last quarter, full credit to them, but great team effort.
Jakey, Murphy, well done on a good game from yourself, mate. Kicking fought. Why don't you inject yourself in the midfield a little bit more? I saw earlier in the year that you were coming up a few times a quarter and getting those clearances. I'd love to see you try and get back in there and do a little bit of a shake and bake, mate, and get involved in the contest through the middle of the ground.
Yeah, Scotty just wanted me to play out the goal square today, so I was more than happy to stay there, mate.
Happy to do that?
Yeah, I was more than happy to do that. So they asked me, I think, halfway through or the end of the first quarter if I wanted to go in for a couple. I said, no, mate, I'll go back to the goal square. So I was enjoying it down there tonight.
Fair enough. And one of your key targets, he's only young, and just maybe talk to me a little bit about Nate Caddy. He shows some pretty exciting signs. What are you loving about playing with him at the moment?
Yeah, it's just his freedom. We encourage him to run and jump and launch at it. And, we're more than happy to kick it to him in shit spots as well, and he just goes for it. He's such an exciting player, and, I thought Harry Jones coming forward as well. I think those two have got 2 very big futures ahead of them, and should be exciting for all the Essendon fans.
Should be a pretty exciting 3 weeks. Got the Gold Coast next week at Marvel, and then you've got 2 pretty big games ahead with Sydney and Brisbane. Certainly finals on the card still for the Bombers.
Oh, we take it one game at a time, mate. But,
come on, Jakey. Come on.
In saying that, though, when you got Sydney and Brisbane, they're the teams that you want to go up against, and if we can't get the job done, we don't deserve to be there. If we do, then we've earned our spot.
Jake, it's Brett Sprigg. Murph mentioned Nate Caddy, his fellow draftee from last year, Onday Bute, Archie Roberts. He was involved in plenty early on. He had some big moments, didn't he?
Oh, he was massive. I was walking off the ground, and I think I said to Zach Mayer, I'm like, that kid's going to be a star. But he's shown that, to Archie's credit, he come in day one of pre-season, and he just looked like a footballer. He just looked like he was going to play from the get-go. He's done his hard work, through the VFL, had a really consistent whole year, and then to be able to come out and take his opportunity, I think he's cemented himself pretty well into the team now.
Jake, given the week that had been, how intense was it coming into today? You've been around footy a long time, but we made the reference in the commentary when Jai Amos kicked that goal at the start of the last term. It sort of felt like it was 8 or 9 goals, and then you found that spark. So how much did what you worked on during the week apply in that final term?
Yeah, I think it was the last few weeks have been pretty challenging as a playing group, but the way we were able to respond during the whole game, but especially late in that last quarter, was terrific.
And 4 goals in 5 minutes. Whatever it was, you seemed to harness it in that last quarter.
Yeah, that's it, mate. If we can do that, hopefully we don't have to chase teams down, mate. Hopefully we can have a good buffer and don't have to worry about it. It'd be nice.
Oh, you're still in the 8, still in the fight for the 8, and the Bombers fans are smiling tonight. Thanks so much for your time. Good luck next week.
No worries. Thanks, boys.
Jake Stringer, after his 4-goal performance, I've got no doubt he'll feature in the votes with Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio still to come after a 13-12-90 victory over the Dockers, 14-5-89. Interesting without Peter Wright, the decision to play Jake Stringer more out of the goal square seemed to open up the forward 50 a little more, and we mentioned throughout the match he did his part in the first and third quarters where he kicked 2 goals in both, so tried to provide that spark, but in the final term we were wondering who else would step up, and it was Gresham, it was Nick Martin, it was Zach Merritt, Dylan Shield you made mention of. In the end they had more contributors than what we'd seen for some other parts of the match where they're being outplayed.
Yeah, I think like with the omission of Peter Wright, they probably get a little bit too centric towards having a big guy down and there's bomb. But with a smaller forward line, you can't do that because you just don't get the contest. So you have to use your skills and your targets. Now, they did that early, didn't they? But they broke down a lot too.
Yeah.
They had plenty of opportunities to go inside forward 50 and didn't quite capitalise. But, yeah, I should have asked Jake, and he probably won't say, but whether that's their best mix because they looked fluent down there. But sometimes you just need that big bailout as well, and that's where I think Peter Wright can be that if you don't want to throw young Caddy or Jones to the Wolves too early as young players.
No, and what they showed, which is a real positive for Essendon, is that when the game was well and truly on that last quarter, their skills rose to the occasion. So they'll be looking back and go, well, that's frustrating that we're not doing that for the majority of the game, that we're not hitting those kicks or we're not getting our skills correct. So should go back and look at the tape and go, well, what were we doing in that last quarter? Was our forward structure different? What were our running patterns? Were we holding more space? We were letting the mids just take the grass in front of them, which I think was the case, that they just opened up their forward line a little bit more, and they actually came at the leg more, whereas I think in the first 3 quarters they're probably getting a bit higher up the ground, then they were just having to bomb it in. They didn't probably have a lot of leading lanes to work into, so it's probably an area of the game that no doubt they're looking at, but I'd go back and have a look as a midfielder and as a forward and go, well, why in the last quarter did we hit these kicks and why did it open up for us, and try and replicate that as much as you can.
Yeah, eradicating those mistakes I think is key for nearly every team, to be honest, but they made some fundamental ones right just across like centre half back to the centre of the ground,
which shows you it's confidence.
Yeah, that's it. And then once the game was almost gone, but they
were forced to have to go.
Yeah, they abandoned that, so therefore they play a bit more free, and they can hit those targets. It's a funny game footy, isn't it? With what goes on between the years and how much that can affect you with actually just hitting a target because we're behind the scoreboard, so you tighten up, and then the mistakes compound, and it just ends up being even worse.
It was 5 goals apiece from turnover. I thought it was going to be far more for the Bombers the way the match sort of panned out, and it felt like they almost leaned over the cliff face and saw their season was about to evaporate and then sparked into life. It's some turnaround in the final term, and then it'll be the curiosity as to whether they can continue on against the Gold Coast Suns.
Do you have faith in them, though, to beat those 2 teams, Sydney and Brisbane, in the last 2 rounds? Gold Coast Suns is like, well, you can make a case that the Suns will come out firing, but you can also say that they haven't yet, so how would you know?
It's probably only about 2 teams you'd have faith in, though, at the moment. Brisbane, who are comfortably leading over St Kilda at the moment, 11-5-71, and the Saints 1-4-10.
You'd be comfortable backing the Bombers over the Swans currently after the weekend.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? And the Bulldogs are the other team after Hawthorn suffered a defeat at the hands of the Giants. The Giants have now won 5 on the trot, winning by 2 points. So they did it the hard way, kicking 7 goals to 2 in the final term. Before we went down to Jake Stringer, I was just getting your response to how the Fremantle coach, Justin Longmuir, would feel. It was a big test, a big occasion to come to the MCG to try and knock out a contender.
Yep.
Felt like they did a lot right, and yet at the end of the day, they'll put their heads in their hands and think, well, that could have been such a big win for us. And just some of the crucial moments late which went against them.
Yeah, well, no doubt late, but I think right across the day, they looked in control of it, but they weren't able to get a lot of ball inside forward 50. They were clean and they executed really well, but they didn't beat them with a number of balls going in there and give their forwards a real chance. I think that's one part of it, but then they will be ruined that, 4 goals in 5 minutes and that inability to stop the flow, which teams pride themselves on, but there was a couple of little mistakes in there and things that went against them. Just missed handballs with those fundamentals, and we're talking about Essendon freeing up and being able to hit them when they got their tails up, and then Jordan Clark misses a handball metre your way, Murph, in the middle of the ground, which results in a goal the other way. So it's between.
They just to get the detail right.
It's between,
especially in the last quarter.
Yeah,
the Dockers. So that's certainly a game that they let slip because they had it firmly in their grasp, didn't they? And they just didn't get the contest right in the pivotal moments, and they lost those 1v1s, which to the Bombers' credit, they got right.
For the Essendon and Fremantle fans who have hung around, a chance to have a kick on the middle of the MCG. The centre corridor is fenced off from end to end, but there's a few thousand out there having...
So we can't park in Yarra Park, but you can get out in the G and have a kick.
I somehow knew you'd find a way to make that point known. Ian Cohen's headed to the Fremantle rooms. We're going to head to Docklands in around 4 minutes' time. So if we can get a response for the Dockers, we will, but let's get the votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year. Mark,
I found it very difficult today, Clinky, to try and get
our
that one.
listeners won't know what you're making reference to there.
Well,
but
we
anyway.
could maybe get a playback from Brett Deledio calling Matt Clinch Clinky. So if we can, that would be great. But my one vote today goes to Zach Merritt. I thought he was... you just look at the numbers and he probably doesn't stack up as well as a few of his other midfielders, but I thought in the last quarter, I thought he was really influential, along with Dylan Shield.
Yep.
I thought they were terrific, but I thought Zach across the game was probably the one that broke open the game in terms of using his legs and hitting his targets. I thought he was terrific for most of the day. Mason Redmond gets my 2 votes.
Wow, okay.
I thought he was really strong off a half-back flank, had some really good 1v1 wins, some good intercept possessions, but I thought he propelled the Essendon offence off that defensive line really well and got involved a lot through the middle of the ground and used the ball really well. Then 3 votes goes to Hayden Young. I thought he was the Dockers' best player, and you probably look at the numbers there, Lids. I know
Nah, I'm not.
Are you shaking your head?
No,
I
like Hayden Young. He's one of my favourites.
So he had the 27 disposals. He had the 13 contested possessions. He had the 7 clearances. I just thought he was involved a lot. 7 tackles, 8 score involvements, kicked the 2 goals. I thought he was easily their best player in the game. I thought from an impact point of view, you can sometimes look at the overall numbers and be excited by those, Clinky. But I thought that Hayden Young was the best player on the ground in a pretty tight game. I thought he could put a blanket over probably 5 or 6.
Yeah. 3 to Young, 2 to Redmond, 1 to Zach Merritt from Mark Murphy in the ABC Footballer of the Year. We'll check the Coaches Association tomorrow. We'll be in touch, Murph, to see if you got it right. Let's get a scene setter from the Fremantle rooms with Ian Cohen.
Yeah, look, much quieter clearly than the Essendon rooms, and for a lot of the players that are based in Melbourne, of course, or come from Melbourne, they have a lot of family and friends here, and a lot of them being consoled, arms around, and real disappointment. I saw the coach, Justin Longmuir, and he obviously was fairly downcast about it. You would have thought they had it in the bag, and suddenly the Bombers have been able to get away with one there. So, look, a big, strong crowd still supporting, obviously, the Fremantle Dockers, but, yeah, very, very quiet. Not much to be said, and lots of arms around players that have tried their best endeavours, but unfortunately this one got away from them at the MCG. So, disappointment in the Dockers rooms.
Thank you very much to Ian Cohen. Caleb Sarong in his 100th game. The Bombers win by a point. 13-12-90 to Fremantle, 14-5-89. 5 goals to 2, the way of the Bombers in the final term, coming back from a 25-point deficit after Jai Amos gold at the start of the final term. This crazy 2024 AFL season just continues on. So Sydney and Collingwood on Friday night from the SCG. Ooh. What are we going to see from Sydney after their 112-point loss to Port Adelaide? Just sounds weird.
They're banged up, it seems. So I don't think it's going to be a bring the mouth guards type session week, is it?
Nah, it's a freshen up. It's got to be almost.
Eradicate. Yeah, let's bury this game. It's gone.
Brisbane and the Giants from the Gabba.
That's spicy too. You'd have to go with the Lions at the moment, wouldn't you?
Have to.
North Melbourne take on West Coast. So that's down in Tassie. The Fremantle Dockers take on Geelong. So back at home, but they have Geelong. So good test for the Cats after they just got over the line last night against Adelaide Crows. The Bombers and the Gold Coast Suns have got mixing Saturday nights in Melbourne. So that's at Docklands and Melbourne and Port Adelaide at the MCG. So
Port should smoke them if going off last night.
Yeah, you would think so. But the Gold Coast...
Coming here to the G's,
That's different.
Yep.
It's different, but they're in good form. Port, they've surprised me a little bit late.
Melbourne are just paddling at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
We're all at the MCG, I think, together for Carlton and Hawthorn. If we're not, we might have to try and make that happen. You're off on a little holiday.
I'm sunning myself.
Richmond and St Kilda is the 3:20 game from Docklands, and Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs to close out the weekend. Thank you, Murph. Thank you, Lids.
Pleasure, Clinky.
That clinky, no, that's not sticking. Thanks to Ian Cohen down the rooms, to Craig Davis back at base, and to Stuart Hollywood-Baker at the back of the box, to Craig Davis as well. The Bombers, their fans are smiling tonight. Winners by a point, 13-12-90 to Fremantle 14-5-89 in front of 34,381 fans. The Bombers are 2 points outside the top 8, and their season is still alive. For the Dockers, they slide down to 5th on the AFL ladder. We join our commentary team, Joel Peterson, Andrew Mays, Brent Harvey, Zach Toohey and Jess Webster, with the Brisbane Lions comfortably on top at Docklands, 13-5-83 to the Saints 2-4-16. Good night.